Gaming news today is all about response. First, will Highguard respond to the calls for updates, trailers, or more gameplay? And a surprising revelation about how much they paid to be part of the Game Awards. Well, it's prompting many gamers to look at Jeff Keighley with a bit of a raised eyebrow. Second, Jedi 3 rumors are starting to swirl, and while some are quick to dismiss them, I'm actually interested given the amount of months between Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, especially knowing that Disney wanted more Star Wars games to come out at a more regular cadence. Third, arcraiders bans are going out, and some are attributing this to a response to something that the Burnt Peanut said. Yeah, that's real, and this seems to be related to a reason why streamers are running into cheaters more often. There's a theory being floated out there that I hadn't really considered. I have my own theories as to why streamers are seemingly running into more cheaters than anybody else, and we will take a look and see if we can get down to the bottom of this. If you're watching this later, be sure to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Double check your bell button. It's going to switch to personalized instead of all, so you might not be getting pinged for my uploads and my live streams. Consider doing a membership, because that is how I do this full time. If you can't do that, be here as often as you can. You might get a gifted membership. Hit that like button as well. Now, I want to get into this because there's a lot here to consider about this game here. The recent news broke about Highguard has me saying the only thing that I think that I can. This game just doesn't make any sense. That's basically where I stand on Highguard right now. The game makes no sense. Now, I'm going to walk through all the reasons why I don't think it makes any sense, especially after the recent news broke about the game. In case you missed it, Forbes is reporting that this game did not pay for the primo spot at the end of the Game Awards. Yes, you heard that correctly, and they are not the first to make this claim. They were not told by just one source either. They were told by two different sources. Both sources are claiming that Jeff Keighley just really liked the game, which, to be fair, Jeff didn't really try to hide that fact when he introduced the game to the public. He seemed genuinely excited. He seemed to think that the rest of us were going to be genuinely excited. Also, he seemed to believe that that excitement would lead to a desire for people to want to play the game, and I just cannot fathom why. If you paid any attention to the live service landscape recently, you had to know that anything that looks like Highguard was ripe for public scrutiny, dislike, and even hate, which is why I'm saying this game makes no sense. Let's just start with the devs themselves. They spun off from a studio that made Titanfall 1 and 2 and Apex Legends, and they genuinely thought that this game was the next breed of shooter. Nobody along the way said, hey, let's pump the brakes. Nobody said, hey guys, this looks an awful lot like games that folks are saying that they're tired of. Nobody along the way said, you know, this is a bit too derivative, and it looks an awful lot like Concord, and we all saw what that had as a chance, and it didn't really have one. We heard that Firewalk had a culture of toxic positivity, which, with some of the folks that came from Bungie, I was not surprised to hear that. But the studio that had a bit of a rebel streak, they had a bit of a crazy streak, right? These are the guys that did Apex Legends instead of Titanfall 3. They sort of did Apex Legends in secret. You guys fell prey to this, like toxic positivity, or making something like this? I find that really hard to believe, which maybe that's what they thought. Hey, we'll do it again. We'll make a game in secret. We'll just kind of drop it on the public and we'll wow everybody. I think maybe they attributed a little bit too much to methodology that would make this game acceptable. But this game also doesn't make sense in the realm of the Game Awards. Did nobody but Keighley see this trailer? Did nobody else even play the game? If Jeff Keighley played it, who else did? Nobody said this was a bad idea. Like, I'm at the point of bewilderment about this. I thought, well, maybe this was a post-COVID game, right? They got flush with cash from venture capitalists or angel investors. They were really hoping to make that easy live service ROI, which I do think that is part of the reason why games like this keep cropping up. They feel very production line. They feel calculated, very corporate and disconnected, and that's the best theory that I can come up with. Folks with money saw an opportunity in the gaming market during, 2020 and 2021, and they made these calculated, very corporate-driven games with funding. And games are basically saying, yeah, this is what we made our version, and gamers are saying no thank you. According to my research, the team that formed around this game formed in 2021, and that's when studios and companies were overhiring due to the COVID and post-COVID surge of gaming activity. So I guess that kind of makes sense of the situation. Like, why would you give them the primo slot though, and then say nothing in your marketing afterwards? Now, Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, he weighed in on Twitter, and he said that this team is just implementing a similar strategy that was used with Apex Legends. And he could be right, but this feels like it'll end up going in the reverse route. You're going to say nothing, market nothing, you're going to drop it, and instead of content creators kind of flocking to your game to celebrate it, I think content creators are going to farm you for lulz, and then they're going to kind of move on. Tom Henderson also said this recently, quote, "You can really tell who got invited to the Highguard event and who didn't with all the takes about its marketing. So you're telling me they had a content creator capture event. Well, I can't wait for all those NDAs and embargoes to drop, because it'll be very interesting to see how these folks end up talking about it after seeing the game up close. Because for now, nothing about this game makes sense. I don't understand how it got made. I don't get how it got the primo spot at the Game Awards for $0. I don't get how Jeff thought so highly of it, and I really don't get why they thought a secret dev cycle and silent marketing would be a good idea. We now have 1 week before we get to find out what happens with this game. They can delay, they can cancel, or they can flop. Those seemingly are the three potential futures for Highguard. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below, or make sure you're here for those live stream discussions, which we're going to have one right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Welcome on in. This was probably the most shocking thing we could hear about Highguard, is that they didn't pay for their spot. Like, I was like, wait, what? Like, and I know Jeff made it clear. I don't think Jeff tried to hide the fact that he was like a big fan of the game. It just seemed strange to be like, all right, dude, like you you gave these guys the best spot of the night for $0. I mean, again, maybe it was a late call. Maybe it was supposed to go to, Light No Fire. That's what we heard. Like, it was supposed to be them, and then it wasn't. But make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Get us the first 100 likes really, really quickly. Let me get the weekly goal up and running. I am going to have to... how do I interact with this? That's interesting. I can't interact with it because it's a scene. I'm going to have to go to the scene to interact with it. I didn't consider that would be a challenge. Give me 1 second here. There we go. I have to open that every day before the stream starts. I didn't even consider that. All right, let's reset all progress. There we go. Cardoc Ren comes in with the Prime sub over there on purple to start the week off. 53 months is a lot of months. Thank you so much. Welcome back in. Curious what you guys think about this. It didn't pay officially. Bribes could still happen. I really don't think that that's what happened. Hey, who knows? Maybe it ends up being good. I think it's really unlikely that this game, quote unquote, pulls it off. I just think it's really unlikely. I think that in general, the public has... hang on. I have to unlock the lockdown end. I got to unlock the Discord. Sorry about that. In general, I think these kinds of games have they've just gone to the wayside. They've gone the way of the dodo. Like, I just don't think anybody is going to flock to these games in large numbers, Joe Raptor said Phantom Blade devs at the awards didn't know where their trailer was going to show. For sure, I don't think every single person is going to say, well, yeah, we knew exactly at what point in the show rundown where we were going to land. After the Divinity trailer, the Highguard trailer was lackluster. I mean, you didn't stand much of a chance. You had the Star Wars trailer. You had the Divinity trailer. I think the best reveal of the night was Control Resonance, and then... there was a host of other announcements throughout the night that were, varying degrees of excitement and non-excitement, but I don't think it hits more than 5,000 players on Steam. This just makes it sound like Light No Fire was meant to be the closer, and Jeff had to make a decision when Sean couldn't be available. But if it's a paid slot, weird that they would still show Light. Well, if you make assurances to, like, let's just look at some of the bigger ones, right? Like, if you make assurances to Larian as well as to whoever's behind the Star Wars game, I mean, Disney obviously could be in the mix if they're, footing any of the marketing bill. If you know for a fact that, you've already made assurances to them that they're going to be at the start of the show, you can't go back and be like, oh, hey, we'd really like to put the Star Wars game, at the end. A lot of people felt like that should have been at the end. I feel like Control Resonant could have been at the end, but Star Wars is a pretty big piece of property to end the night with. Edward Holtz with 30 months. Jeff, assuming that he thought would be a consumer mindset like Herman did with Concord, I think he made a mistake, and he'll learn for the next time. That was one thing I didn't really put in the show open, but again, that to me is the one piece of it that I can't make heads or tails of. Jeff's pretty active on Twitter. Now, maybe he doesn't read Twitter, but he certainly is active. He certainly is paying attention. I mean, I find it really hard to believe that this guy has no clue what the public thinks about these types of games. That they're just like completely in the dark. And a VIP comes from Mick D09. Let me add it to the total. Thank you so much. How are you that in the dark? Because a lot of people have said, and I tend to agree with this, I don't think I've watched a video about this yet that has not echoed this reality. The reality that if we would have put that trailer in the middle of the showcase, okay, if it would have landed, smack in the middle or anywhere, it would be long forgotten. Nobody would be talking about it. There'd be no videos about it, no reaction, nothing. I actually agree with that. I think if it would have been anywhere else in the show, it would be a lost relic at this point. Nobody would be talking about it. Putting it where it did, I don't think helped or hurt it, because I don't think it was going to go anywhere to begin with. Seriously, I think they're probably getting more organic marketing now than they would have anywhere else. And if they would have landed anywhere else, I think their fate is the same regardless. People would have been like, I don't want to play that game. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, he saw it and thought, not on my watch. And what do you mean, not on my watch? Talus with 5 months. Let's add it to the total. Thank you so much for using your Prime over there on Purple. Welcome back in. Highguard devs, even more depressing when you realize they could have given us Titanfall 3. Or they could have given us something very adjacent to Titanfall. Like, this is the best theory I can come up with. If you remember when we learned about how Apex Legends came to be, it was a bit of a rebellious thing that they did. They made it in secret. EA had no idea they were doing it. They come back to the table basically scared to death that they've made a big mistake. Okay? I would say these guys thought they could do the same thing. They're like, well, let's just do this thing. We'll do it in secret. We'll drop it on the public. We'll wow everybody. We've got a good idea. We've got a good perspective here. And I think that's why they just didn't get any good insider feedback. You know what I mean? Jeff looked at his Rolex. I'm not sure what you mean. I think Jeff just made a personal decision and it was a mistake. He sees the feedback and made changes like he does every year. He really cares. That's what I mean. He seems really tuned in to like how negative and nasty the public can be. If there's anybody that knows how bad the public can be, it's Keeley. My original post was maybe Jeff saw it was another hero shooter and thought not on my watch. Yeah, but you don't need to do anything to help games like this not go anywhere. You really want a dev to work on something that they obviously don't want to do? Well, I've said that as well in times past. Like, if this is what they wanted to build, so be it. Like, if nobody wants to make a Titanfall adjacent game, if nobody wants to make a Titanfall game, so be it. I don't want you making it if you don't want to make it. I'm trying to give you insight. At least this is not insight. This is my theory. I'm trying to give a theory as to how they ended up doing this. Are you implying BioWare magic? I think they became infatuated with the methodology. If you look at how Apex came to be, they weren't supposed to make that game. They were supposed to be making something completely different. They decide to make it anyway in secret. Same thing. They make it in secret. They bring it to their publisher basically and say, this is what we built instead. They took an enormous risk when they did that, right? It was a little bit of a rebellious streak to say, well, we're just going to do this. We think this is what we should do. And then they just dropped it on the public. They kept it super, super quiet. I think this team saw that methodology as like, well, that's a recipe for success, instead of being like, well, you need a killer game. You can do the methodology, but if you don't have a killer game, it kind of doesn't matter. If your game is a hero shooter, or, you know, looks an awful lot like a hero shooter, there's a brewing debate about Marathon. I put a poll on the channel, and it's pretty much split down the middle last I checked it. Let me check it. Yeah, you know, 56-44. Not everybody agrees. Not everybody agrees about that game. Highguard certainly has that vibe and that feel. Guys, make sure you're hitting the like button as you come in. Let's get that first 100 likes on the video. We've only been live for about 15 minutes. Let's get it going. What do you guys think would have been the final review? Okay, so there's a theory floating around that Light No Fire was supposed to be the show ender. Sean Murray wasn't able to be there because of a personal issue. All the guys that accepted the award for Hello Games were all wearing Light No Fire shirts. So people were theorizing, yeah, maybe Sean was supposed to do something big. It falls through, and he's like, listen, I really want to be there for this. I really want to do the interview. The guys on the team were probably not prepped to go main stage with Keeley. Sean Murray's, you know, done this enough times to manage it. So there's a theory that that's what's going around, that's what happened. And Keeley basically was I think Keeley was going to give these guys a nice spot. I think he liked them. I think he believed in the product. I don't think he made that up, but I don't think they were meant to be the show ender. I believe that theory more and more now that I think about it, because I don't think you give that spot away for free. Absolutely not. The event is expensive. You got to make that money, dude. And I have a hard time believing that Keeley just gave away the most prime spot of the night to just some guys on a small, scrappy team that he really liked. I don't think so. I think he was giving them a late show placement because he liked them. But I think the one more thing, I think the final thing, the whatever, I think it was going to be Light No Fire. I actually think that more now that we learned from Forbes that they didn't even pay for the spot. I believe even more now that, like, I don't think that that's what the point of the event was, to end that way. That theory sounds weak. If you have something for Light No Fire at the Game Awards, you show it. But you have to remember the last time that Light No Fire showed up, homie. They were on stage doing a pretty lengthy interview. I forget how long he was on stage. Hello Games had a really big slot at the Game Awards when they unveiled Light No Fire. So I don't think you just show it. If you got Sean that's supposed to be there, if you got Sean that's supposed to kind of be like talking about this, I don't think you show it without him. I thought Highguard was made by Respawn. I mean, it's from people that were there. They spun off and made their own studio. Tides of Tomorrow delayed till 2026. Jeff has to see the options online. Why not just clarify? You don't want to end on a downer. You don't want to walk out and be like, we had something really special planned for you, but Sean Murray couldn't make it, so here's this crap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't end on a downer. Be like, listen, y'all, we were going to end on it was going to be awesome. I wish I could show it to you, but, you know, because if Hello Games negotiates the spot and is like, listen, we want to showcase, we want Sean on stage, we want to do a little bit of an interview, and if Sean can't be there, you know, it might make sense to wait. It might make sense to hold off. I said, all right, we'll see you in the summer. You know, Hello Games is in no hurry. We know this. I mean, if you look at, they've said and done nothing with Light No Fire, okay? So, they're in no hurry. So, he could have said, listen, we'll see you guys in summer. Will you come to my Summer Game Fest and give me a spot there? Jeff's always in need of stuff to show at Summer Game Fest. So, very, very possible, you know. All I know is that this game comes out in a week, y'all. Highguard is crazy to think about. Free to play. Somebody was asking a little bit ago, you know, what's it cost? It's free to play, and it comes out 1 week from today. I mean, we'll see. we shall see. The sting of the launch of No Man's Sky will be with that studio forever. Doesn't matter how much free content and improvements they made. What do you mean the sting? When you say sting, you got to define that for me. I don't think that anybody could look at that studio and think anything but the highest degree of respect. What's good? Good morning. What's good, Paranoid? How are you? Polarin says, I'm not sure with the whole Highguard thing. Maybe they're banking on the Overwatch 1 feedback. Overwatch 1 was great, and then Overwatch 2 was much less. So many other hero shooters are trying to rely on Titanfall Apex gameplay for a new hero shooter. I don't know. Yo, it's good. Weskinator, how are you? Somebody says nobody cares. Crazy? What are you saying nobody cares about? I've been saying this. Sorry, Hello Games redeemed themselves a dozen times over. Yeah, anybody still holding a grudge against Hello Games, listen, I mean this with love. You got to get over it. You got to get over it. That's weird behavior, especially once we've known more and more that so much of it wasn't even their fault. I mean, they had a freaking flood in their office. I think it's one of the reasons they were able to add so much stuff to the game so quickly, because the stuff was already planned. You know, to act as if they've not redeemed themselves, they're not worthy of like trust and admiration. I mean, listen, man, I think there are far more important things to be firm on, and that's not one of them. To be like, no, I'm still going to hold a grudge for a game that came out. What, aren't they? Isn't next year going to be like their 10-year anniversary? When did No Man's Sky release? No Man's Sky released in 2016. This year is their 10-year anniversary. It's been 10 years, man. Yo, Joker Quinn with 31 months and a member plus. Welcome back, my friend. Let me add you to the total. Sitting on 5 to start the week. Thank you so much. Raven, 47 months. Hello. I'm nervous. Hope surgery doesn't get canceled. Oh, well, I hope it goes well. Thank you so much. To be fair, No Man's Sky delivered on what it promised. Unparalleled seamless exploration was the main selling point. It delivered. It didn't promise an epic story. Yo, what's good? C. Lou coming in with 33 months. Let's add it to the total. That's 6. 6 on the week. I just got home late last night from running a charity booth all weekend at Comic-Con. Finally got a bit of downtime. Well, thanks for spending some of your time here then. The onboarding of the game is rough, but it's a great game. Uncharted 4 is almost 10 years. Oh, that's crazy. That's almost 10 years as well. What a night. We'd like to extend a big thank you to Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards, says Highguard. We have so much in store for you. When the game launches on January the 26th, we can't wait to welcome everyone into the world of Highguard. We'll see you next year. Think we see something today? Listen, I get the strategy. I do. But you announce the game. Like the strategy they use with Apex, it's like it kind of worked because we didn't know that it was coming. I mean, we started hearing rumblings that something was coming, but there was no big trailer. There was no big announcement. Like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, listen, man, you guys got to say something now. It's been long enough. We get it. You're being all sneaky. You know, you made the game in secret, in total secrecy. Yeah, see you next year, right, Titan? See you next year, guys. Also, am I the only one that doesn't like when they call you by the name of the game like you're already a part of the community? They said, we'll see you next year, Wardens. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Why are you calling us Wardens? You know what I mean? We haven't even played your game yet, and you're already like trying to onboard us into your weird community title. You know what I mean? It's like, I got a new game coming out, guys, and in this game, you guys are deputies, And then you're like, we'll see you next year, deputies. And people are like, what are you talking about, man? Why are you saying that? We haven't even played your game yet. I don't know. I find it weird. I get that Destiny does it with the, Eyes Up Guardian and, we'll see you Starside Guardians and blah, blah, blah. But they're speaking to an audience that's like playing their game and watching an update. They'll do like a live stream and they'll be like, yeah, we'll see you in the update, Guardians. It's like, you guys just announced your game. You might want to slow down calling us all wardens. Us Reforgers are not falling for it. I can't bring myself to do that. I'll see you guys in the stream tomorrow, Reforgers. I'll see you guys later, you forgers. Forger sounds like we're forgeries, like we're making fake stuff here. Yo, Jeremy Bruce, thanks so much for jumping back in with your membership. Guys, make sure if you're on YouTube, make sure your membership's at a Member Plus or VIP. I can't count the base level ones in the count because it could be a gifted, and then that counts as double. I would quit so fast, says Zubair. Also, we didn't have a great 2025. We're about to have an even worse 2026. Lono starts calling everybody Reforgers. Regardless of what happens with Highguard, at least it's free, says Fuzzy. Marathon's got $40 hill to climb. Let me tell you a little something about Marathon, man. That Defense Force, they don't play around. They're really angry about my video. The guy said there was a guy that said I was getting ratioed in the comments. I was like, you might want to read the comments. It's literally 50-50. It's about a 50-50 split. It's actually, I felt like more people were agreeing with me than disagreeing with me, but the Defense Force for Marathon descended on that game. On that video. I was like, holy mackerel. Odin Arrow with the Member Plus. Let me add it to the total. Thanks so much. Chimney, they're on that video. They're very upset. It's not a hero shooter. All right. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. I hope Marathon is good enough to draw some of the annoying PvPers away from arcraiders. That's what's it's a dumping ground for PvP players. Jeremy Bruce upgrades to Member Plus. Upgrades count as 2. We're sitting at 9. That's right. Thank you very much. I need everybody on a membership to do what Jeremy Bruce just did. And a Member Plus renewal from Mikey bought 4 months. He says, I think my membership auto-renewed. I can't tell, but you should start a war on arcraiders. The Reforgers will follow you into battle. Let me add it to the total. No, I'm the one who started Operation Friendship, and everybody told me that I was being stupid and I was playing the game the wrong way, and I said, no, I believe there are people in this game that are going to play peaceful. I happen to think they're making up the majority of the players right now, if you want my honest opinion. I think they are. I do. I think that's why the streamers are running into all the cheaters. I think the streamers run into a disproportionate amount of cheaters because everybody else is playing peaceful. So if you're cheating, you're gonna land in those PvP lobbies, boys. You're gonna be shooting up the streamers and the PvP folks. Bungie must be the abusive ex I keep returning to, as with Destiny and the lackluster Marathon showings. I'm still considering buying it at launch. I mean, listen, man. The first step is admitting you have a problem. That's always the first step. I mean, listen. I get it. I understand. I do. I don't think that I don't want to restoke the debate fires from Friday. We debated it up one side, down the other. I was just amazed the people that got on the thing and they were like, you're saying that it's going to be bad because it's PvP? No, that's not what I said, but sure, if that's what you think. I played some of the latest Destiny expansion but fell off almost immediately after beating it. PvE players are cool. A guy was at the extraction dropping Bobcat blueprints for the lobby. Operation Friendship was a success. Operation Friendship was a success. I told y'all. I said, I'm here to tell you, I believe that there are people that are going to be playing this game, and that's how they're going to play it. They're going to come in here to make friends and have a good time, not just like shoot the lobby up, you know? Yo, could we get 12 more likes on the video, guys? Thanks so much for being here. We're about 30 minutes into the show. We're talking about Highguard. In case you missed it, Highguard didn't pay for the Primo spot of the Game Awards, according to multiple sources now, not just one. Forbes saying they heard from 2 different sources. They weren't even the first to report this. Somebody else had already claimed that they had heard that. Apparently, Jeff Keighley just really liked the game. So he put it in there. There's a decent amount of things about Marathon I liked more than Arc currently. That's great. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it for a short amount of time. I don't think it's got staying power. For Marathon, whether it's good or bad, day 1, numbers matter way less than day 30 numbers. That's exactly right. I'll put money on it. People are going to be getting in the Discord and on my Twitter feed posting pictures of the games like player base day 1. If the numbers are good, people are going to do that. You know what I mean? Some guy was like, he got on my Twitter feed and he was like, you were wrong about the delay and you were wrong about arcraiders. Are you going for the hat trick? And I'm like, now hang on a second there, partner. I actually was correct about the delay. I said that there was no way Marathon was coming out last year. I said it's almost assuredly getting delayed, and it did. And I said that arcraiders had a shot if they leaned into PvE, which I don't know if you've seen the latest headlines or interviews, but you talk about going for a hat trick. I'm about to go for one. I'm about to hit 3 in a row on these topics. My skepticism about extraction shooters was well-founded. If you look at the player-based trends and the response, the aggressive-based matchmaking, and the way they're handling arcraiders, it proves every single thing I said about extraction shooters true. If you want broad appeal, you got to make sure you've got people that can go in and have a good time and not have their day ruined, because if that's not the case, then you're not going to keep players. And I think they were well aware of that. I was really hoping to see more Duskbloods, the Game Awards. I wonder if they still plan to release it this year. Boy, that's another one with the Defense Force that remarkably just doesn't seem aware of what the Switch 2 is capable of. I got news for you. If you're like a big FromSoft fan, you know, and you've been playing some Elden Ring, you've been playing some Night Rain, you're going to boot up that Duskbloods on your Switch 2, and I think you're going to be in for a surprise. And I don't think it's going to be a good surprise. I think you're going to be like, holy, this is bad. Did you guys see how Elden Ring was running on the Switch 2? I don't know, boys. That old Duskbloods is going to have a hard time, I think. If you're used to those games and you want 60 FPS and you want a responsive game, good night. I can't imagine playing a game like that on the Switch 2 and expecting it to, like, you know, run well. Good luck. That's all I got to say. Good luck, boys. You got to start the Life is Strange 2026 waiting room tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Max Cofield and Chloe Price are back. Best lesbian couple in gaming. I mean, say less. There it is. That's all I need. We're doing a waiting room we're going to do a waiting room for Life is Strange tomorrow. There it is. Book it. Book it, boys. I was worried about the gaming news being a little slow this week until we got to the Xbox Developer Direct on Thursday, but here you bring me a golden nugget, and then we'll... Third party on the Switch? Why? I don't know. Telling you what, my wife and I beat Mario Galaxy 2 last night. We got a little crown on every level. We did everything you could. We get all the way to the end and there's a level missing. And I'm like, what? We can't go. There's no level appearing. Apparently you're supposed to do like a green star challenge because we have 120 stars. We did everything you could possibly do. You're supposed to go do like a 120 green star challenge, and then you face off against some like really, really insane challenge at the end. And I told her, I was like, babe, we're done with this game. It was frustrating enough. The levels that you have to like use the gyro controllers to move the ball, it's terrible. They ported it so poorly. Those levels will make you lose your mind. They're so frustrating because the controls don't work well at all. It's not a good port for those levels in particular. Everything else runs fine, but man, when those levels pop up, oof, golly. And I finished Control over the weekend, not just the main game. I finished the main game a while ago. I finished all the DLC. So we're 4 games down already, boys. Catch up. Catch up, young bloods. 19 days in, I've already cleared 4 games. You know, we're going for the record this year of more than last year. I'm just kidding. Did you see Xbox leaking Marathon's release date? I did see that. March the 5th. Interesting choice. Earlier in the month, though. What even is a good port these days? Every PlayStation game on PC. They're all great ports. Now, maybe initially some of them weren't. Last was Part 1. Spider-Man 2. But, yeah. No, I'm not going to platinum Control. No. I did everything that you could do in Control. Like, there's nothing left. But I'm not going to platinum it. No. To platinum it, you've got to do some stuff that I'm just not interested in. Like, collect, what is it, like 3,000, like, findables, collectibles, or something ridiculous. At least that's what somebody put in chat the other day. And I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. They might have been exaggerating, but I also wouldn't want to have to do any more jukebox runs. I did not like that at all. I didn't like that content. I liked everything else, but I did not like the jukebox. I'm really enjoying my Switch 2. If Monster Hunter Wilds comes to it like the rumors say and it has cross progression, I might pick it up again. Honestly, if it has a Switch port, I'm more than likely to buy it there. I need to hang on a second. I need to really take in what you're saying. You're saying, I'm just trying to get a bearing on the statement here. Do you mean to tell me you're wanting to play Monster Hunter Wilds on the Switch 2? I mean, that's a bold risk that you're taking there. I don't know about that. Control Platinum's easy. Somebody in chat was complaining about it. They said it took forever. The main game Platinum is more easy. Well, what was somebody talking about then? Were they just exaggerating? They said that you had to get like something couple thousand collectibles or something. I can't listen, Dalton. You do you, boo-boo. I can't imagine wanting to play Monhun Wilds on the Switch 2. Monhun Wilds didn't really run well anywhere. Holy mackerel. You want to put that sucker on the Switch 2? You might as well say you want to play Dragon's Dogma 2 on the Switch 2. Lono, I was told that Digital Founders found what's making Monhun Wilds run so bad. What's that? Oh, yeah. What, you got to buy DLC or something? Is it... Was that true? Was that Monhun or something else? What was the game? What was the game that kept checking if you had DLC and it tanked performance? So, like, if you bought the DLC, it made your performance better. What the frick game was that? Was that Monhun? Was that Monhun? That's like an Onion article. You know what I mean? That can't be real. Developers come up with a brand new way to monetize their games. Buy DLC and your game will run better. It's a novel idea. It was Monhun. Oh yeah, go ahead, Dalton. You'll be all right. Just make sure and buy the DLC when you go to play Monhun Wilds on the Switch 2. You'll be golden, brother. You know what I mean? You'll be fine. It'll run great. It continuously checks if you've given it more money. I saw another report that said something similar was going on with Borderlands 4. It's consistently doing something. What's it doing? It's DRM or something. It's checking. It's doing some kind of a memory check, like every couple seconds or something. It's just a glitch. Oh, I'm sure it wasn't intentional. I mean, when would that ever happen? When would a company I'm being serious, though. I don't think it was intentional. I cannot imagine a company being like, no, yeah, that's fine. You know, let's check for DLC every couple of seconds, and then if they order the DLC, it'll make the game run better. I'm sure everybody wants those optics as a company. Like, what are we talking about here? I'm pretty confident that it was an accident. Buying faster GPUs is basically buying DLC for better performance. It's very similar. It's almost identical except for the fact that everything's the opposite. You know, one's buying hardware and the other's buying software. But once you remove those nagging differences, they're identical. It's the same. You're not, you know, it's no different. There's a game that had terrible performance and a Redditor found out it was due to a certain syntax in the code not being written correctly. One syntax. Now, how the heck did they not catch that? That's the real question. You know what I mean? How does a Redditor catch that? Did you guys see the Reddit mod video? If you were trying to prove, now I don't believe this, but if you were trying to prove that we lived in a simulation and that the simulation was starting to break down and that life and art were becoming this Venn diagram that you couldn't quite tell what was real and what wasn't. And I think AI is sort of part of this argument, right? The simulation's breaking down, okay? It's starting to break through from the other side. And those of us that are inside of it are starting to not be able to tell up from down. If you wanted to prove that the simulation was in fact real and breaking down, and that things that are imagined were starting to manifest in reality, I think that video of the Reddit moderator would be one of your strongest pieces of evidence. I mean, it is truly one of the greatest things that I have ever watched. I watched Moist Critical. I watched Charlie react to it, and he was getting so uncharacteristically flustered. He was so irritated with the guy. It was comedy. You can't just watch it by itself. You have to watch Charlie's video. It's a must watch. Oh gosh. Forbes is reporting that the leaked Marathon pre-order and release date is real. Well, there you go. There you go, y'all. It's real. March 5th is the Marathon release date. That's it. Feels like Jedi 3 needs to get a lot deeper in the Star Wars lore. There's not much of a story there, boys. But I did some number crunching. So it's not beyond the scope of possibility. There were 41 months in between when Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor came out. 41 months. All right? That's not a big window of time. 41 months. If they were to launch Jedi 3 later this year, like let's say they go for like a holiday release, like December or something, 44 months would be between Survivor and Jedi 3. I'm just here to tell you, man. Disney wants to leverage Star Wars like a marketing bludgeoning baseball bat. They just kind of hit the public with it. I barely get 60 FPS at native 4K on my 5090. Why are you running what are you running native 4K for, man? What are you doing that for? If the game was broken again, then I hope they don't launch it. There's another piece to this puzzle. Okay? The director left. The director for Jedi Survivor, after all his talk about how we could have taken more time, we didn't need it, and blah, blah, blah. I think he took a bullet for Disney, because we all know it was their fault. So I think he takes a bullet for them. I think him doing that interview was him taking a bullet for Disney. Doesn't want to cross the mouse. And I think he gets his new date timeline for Jedi 3, and he says, I'm getting the frick out of here. I'm not doing this again. That's what I think happened. I think he said, listen, we barely got this thing to like a passable performance grade on console. It runs like absolute doo-doo on PC. I think he walked. I also think the reason that the game has never really been fixed on PC, the team moved on. I think they had to already start working on Jedi 3 because of the timeline. I think it all adds up. I think every piece of that puzzle adds up. It all does. You push the game out before it's ready. You do an interview where you take a bullet. For some reason, I don't know why a director would say what he said. Are you that disconnected from your team and your game that you have the gall? You have the absolute gall to sit down and do an interview and be like, we could have taken more time with Jedi Survivor, but we didn't. You're saying that knowingly shipping a game that's not ready. Like, what the heck? And then I think they got their new date for Jedi 3. Cameron Monaghan confirmed they were already working on the third game. I think that's why the PC version never got fixed. I think the team just moved on to Jedi 3 because the timeline came down and they're like, holy mackerel. That's another 40-month window. That's going to be such a struggle. And that's why I think the director quit. I think he walked. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. It's probably so stressful and so frustrating. He goes out, willingly takes a bullet for Disney, basically makes it. Anybody that played that game and heard about that interview was probably pretty ticked off. I don't know if maybe he thinks I'll take a bullet and then maybe I'll be able to negotiate with Disney on a release window that's longer. Like, hey, man, I just went out here and took a bullet for y'all. You guys need to do right by me. What are we talking about? Jedi Survivor. Well, Jedi 3, it was rumored to be getting announced and coming out this year. The guy that was quoted saying it came back and said that's not what he said. I got it saved here. He said, I didn't say that, and as anyone should know about my hyped butt, I don't know crap. So people were quoting Tim Geddes as saying that Jedi Survivor, I'm sorry, not Jedi Survivor, Jedi 3, that Jedi 3 was coming this year. It was going to get announced and released this year. Just started playing Control Ono. What a game. The pictures of the building don't look good. Luckily, no one was there. 100% structural damage, though. Oh, yeah. The Rockstar thing. Yeah. It sounds like nobody was hurt. Yeah. That's a good thing. Here in our city, we had an explosion sometime, I think it was like last year. It was like a food dye factory or something. It was an ammonia leak or something. And it was like their second explosion. It had happened before. How do you have more than one? Anyway, some people died, unfortunately. There were people on the premises when it happened. Hopefully their families are severely compensated for whatever in the world happened, because like I said, it was the second time it had happened. Is Tim even an insider? He does the Kind of Funny talk show. Yeah, I'm not sure how they sleuthed out that he said this. I don't know what happened or how it happened. They're definitely going to delay it again. It certainly could put a damper on the timeline. That is true. We'll have to wait and see if they come out and say anything. The dust settles and no one's hurt. It's like, okay, thank goodness. Now we can move from the humanitarian concern to professional concern. What does this now mean for you guys? What does this mean for the game? You know what I mean? Saw someone say that the firefighters had to sign an NDA on arrival. Listen, if you see anything in there when you're putting the fires out, you can't share it. You know what I mean? Some firefighter comes out and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys aren't going to believe what I saw." Boilers, especially some of the high-pressure steam boilers, are scary. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Back in the day, man, water heaters in your house could blow through the house like a rocket. Like, just up and through the house. Thank you guys for hitting the 100 likes before the first hour. Thank you for being here for the first hour of the show. We're just kind of going back and forth talking about all kind of stuff. We opened the show talking about Highguard, but there's also some other news floating around here about Jedi 3 Marathon's release date leaked. There was an explosion at Rockstar North, I believe. I think we have a question submitted about this. Let's go ahead and take a look-see here. We appreciate you guys being so faithful to the channel. If you haven't hit like yet, hit like. MikeyBot says, Rockstar North got hit by an explosion this morning. Their boiler blew up. No comments from the devs or company, but seems to be not good. Yeah, the update is that no one was harmed. That's always the first concern when something like that happens. Who gives a frick about the game? You know, was anybody hurt? Please tell us that nobody was hurt or died from something like that, because that's usually some kind of negligence, right? But in any case, now that we know no one was hurt, okay, now we can move on to follow-up questions, which are, what does this mean for GTA 6? Back on topic, when is Highguard meant to be releasing? The Highguard game releases 1 week from today for free. So you guys might want to adjust your schedules, adjust your calendars. You know, I know a lot of you guys aren't going to want to miss this one. You're not going to want to miss this one, boys. We will obviously cover it, and we'll see how it goes. We'll probably play it. I mean, I don't see why not. It's free, right? Everybody's going to be wanting to see what in the world's going on. I think there's some morbid curiosity floating around. I don't think people are genuinely interested in playing it. Yo, it's good, Feed. Good to see you. Happy Monday to you. I know on the ones around here, they've got multiple fail safes. Yeah, how does a place like that with that kind of money, how does something like that happen? They cause so much damage. Highguard can wait. Playing through all the Resident Evils first. Now listen, Gail. I'm not trying to scare you, okay? But you might not be able to play Highguard for very long. I'm not trying to scare you into playing it. But Highguard could end up a lot like Concord. If you don't play it that opening week, you might not get to play it. You're like 2 or 3 weeks later, you finish all the Resident Evils. You're like, all right, guys, how's Highguard doing? We're like, what are you talking about, man? That game's been done dead. It is over. They gave people money back. I thought it was free. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, they're paying people for their pain and suffering at this point. Everyone's being compensated at $1.18. $1.18 in pain and suffering. Oh, frick. Somebody left a comment on my Resident Evil video, which y'all didn't watch that, by the way. That was a little irritating. What happened yesterday? None of y'all watched it. Y'all watched the marathon video. Y'all saw that Resident Evil video, and you said no thank you. I was offended. I'm just kidding. I wasn't offended. But watch it if you haven't. It's a good video. But somebody left a comment, and the guy said, it's okay that you didn't like Resident Evil 4. He said, but you really need to try it in VR. It's a completely different experience. And I was like, man, I'm just not set up for that. I'm not set up for VR. We were in church. Yeah, I kind of wonder. We got a lot of churchgoers. Maybe Creature needs to take that under advisement and not be throwing out a video on a Sunday morning. You know what I mean? I'm the channel owner, and I'm sitting in church, and like all of a sudden I open my phone. I'm like, oh frick, we pushed another video out. Like trying to respond to comments. Maybe we should go for the afternoon. You know what I mean? I watched it. I'm balls deep in RE stuff right now. Hey, I appreciate that. I'll go watch a busy day. Yeah. No, that's good feedback. I never considered that. We probably have a pretty large church-going audience here. Y'all appreciate that I'm safe for work. You know what I mean? Not everybody that hangs out here is a heathen or an apostate, you know. A lot of you guys are. You know, we're all praying for you, but the rest of us are worshiping the Lord on Sunday morning. We don't have time to be watching YouTube, you know. Collide coming in with a Prime. 9 months, dude. Let's put it on the board. There it is. Thank you so much. Don't have time to go to someone, hear someone whine in front of me. Spend my Sundays better. Huh? Hear someone whine? I'm not whining in the Resident Evil video. It's a good video. What you talking about? Heathens. Listen. Y'all know. A lot of y'all are lucky I don't have your mama's number, because I'd let her know that you're not going. She thinks you probably tell her you're going to the church down on like Cherry Street or whatever. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, he's a good boy. He's been going. Mm-hmm. You're lucky I don't have her number. I'd be telling on all y'all. I'm not a snitch, but when it comes to going to the house of the Lord, I'll tell your mama on you. Not you loan to a priest. Oh, frick. Shut the frick up, hotshot. Shut up, dude. Mama, I would be angry if I went. You go to the other place, Zubair. You know what I mean? Just don't forget your prayer rug. That's all. In any case, the Resident Evil video. Yeah, the comment was, play Resident Evil 4 in VR. And, it's a completely different experience. And I said, I just don't have the space for it anymore. I got to rearrange all my furniture. You know? I got to move stuff around. Ain't nobody got time for that. If you've got like a designated spot, now I could do that. Like I've got a spot over in the kids' library that if we cleaned it out, right now it's a mess. It hasn't recovered from when the flood happened. We just moved a bunch of stuff over there, and you know what happens. Life happens. You're just doing things. But I could put one over there and have like a nice open spot for VR. I just don't have a strong desire, you know? I really fell off with the VR thing. I loved it. I thought, man, this is really cool. A lot of good games. The only one I really put time into and actually, quote-unquote, finished was Synapse. Yo, DK Bager comes in with 39 months. Let's add it to the total. Thank you so much, sir. You can sit while playing RE4 Remake in VR? Oh, you can. Well, I don't think I'm going to. Right? I don't think I'm going to. I just don't think I'm going to like it. It's just a pretty strong inclination. Now, I'm not really sure. I'm not playing anything next. I think I'm going to jump into... I'm going to try No Straight Roads with Madam and see if that's fun co-op. That one was on my backlog for a really long time, and it's getting a sequel. So I was like, okay, it's the year of the sequel. We can go play the first game. DK Bager gifts a member to bump the line to 13. Thank you so much, DK Bager. One of the king solo gifters around here. Thank you so much, DK. I think tomorrow is Mio, the Metroidvania I was waiting on, so I think I'll dive into that. I think I've done enough backlog work, 4 games already from the backlog. High on Life, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 with Madam, and then Control, and all the DLC in Control. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. The only thing I am very, very hopeful that they improve boss fights in Control Resonant. They did not do a good job with the bosses in Control, the DLCs. They are not fun. The Alan Wake DLC, man, that boss will make you rage. He is so stupidly designed. And then the other one, Marshall, like that boss fight was equally stupid. They're just, I don't know. They just don't, it's hard to put my finger on what the problem is. I feel like the bosses in the astral plane made more sense. They were big. They were sort of like momentous. You're like throwing stuff at them. You've got like time to get out of the way. There was one cool one, the anchor. That boss fight was good. Like the anchor in the center of the room, he'd like spit stuff at you and you'd have to like get out of the way. But man, those DLC bosses were awful. They were terrible. I was like, man, I really hope you guys improve on the bosses in Control Resonant, because these were pretty disappointing. And those were DLC bosses, so maybe that's why they weren't as good. Maybe they just got like a little bit of the lazy treatment. Like, yeah, just put a big bad in the room and, you know, give them a big health bar. Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata first, and also Saros. Oh yeah, the year is full. We get some Ready Player One VR, I might try it. Yeah, I don't have a strong desire for it, you know what I mean? Lono's already rage quitting RE4 in VR. That's a preemptive rage quit. I am such a good rage quitter. I can do it before touching the game. It's a gift. Don't try it at home. Control had a really horrible difficulty curve. Well, they do this thing in Control that I really don't like. They do like really, really high amounts of damage all of a sudden. So like people are shooting at you, people are throwing stuff at you. You know, if there's one of those balls in the room, you got to get rid of it because it's like healing the guys or whatever. But then all of a sudden, you know, some guy up above will like slam the ground, and you miss the telegraph because like you're involved in a fight or something. And I'm at the end of the game, so my health bar is huge. And that slam, I mean, I'm like on a sliver. Like all of a sudden, boom, you have no health. That is one element of Control that I don't think is designed all that well. Like you literally go from a full health bar to an empty health bar. It's instantaneous. You go from like, yeah, you're getting chip damage, you're getting shot at, no big deal. You know, I always had my mods for healing. So like I'd kill guys, I'd run through where they had died, and I'd heal right back up really, really quickly. That was the only thing about Control that I think those two bosses in the DLC I didn't feel like were designed all that well. And then the sort of like just a sudden rush of damage that can happen. I think that I'm hoping they kind of address that in Control Resonant. Give me a little bit more warning before some homie's just going to fall out of the sky and take almost my entire health bar. I just beat the mold one, but it was annoying. That's another bad boss fight where you're in the room with the three-headed mold thing. It's freaking terrible because there's nowhere to go. And if you misread a telegraph, you dodge too early and you get chipped by their attack, you have no health. And then you got no way of healing in the room. There's no trash ads coming out to kill. Oh my golly. That one was pretty frustrating. Thankfully, the mold one, the respawn's right there. I jumped back down. I think I got it on like my third try or something. You just had to keep throwing those explodies at them, and it would do high amounts of damage. You give up on Control, just not for me. It's a bizarre game. It's a little on the weird side. I would say the combat is solid, but it's got some rough edges that I'm thinking the melee focus will help them. Seriously. I think going into a melee-focused approach, I think it'll help them. It'll make more sense of like how you navigate a group. The guns, most of the guns weren't worth using because they were too slow. You just ended up, I maxed out grip and just used that pretty much all of the time. Everything else was too slow or didn't have enough range. Now maybe I could have leveled up spin. That one could have been pretty good, like the SMG. But most of the guns, I don't feel like they're worth a darn. Madam needs to play Highguard? That'd be pretty funny. You tried it when you were like level 4. Oh, if you try and do certain things in that game when you're not high enough level, you will get melted. So, you love the RPG gun? Charge wasn't bad. You could get a mod that increased its projectile speed. I was using that on guys that were like far away. I was basically grip and charge the whole back half of the game. I didn't do anything with spin. I guess I could have. But I just felt like my grip was so stupidly strong, I didn't really need spin. Rocket propelled grenade. No, I knew what you meant. Yeah, I think the gun's called Charge. And I had a mod on it that increased the projectile speed, so you could really, really beam guys with it. It was nice. The shotgun, yeah, the shotguns shatter. Mm-hmm. If you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about all sorts of different things going on in gaming news. You can use the question command if you'd like. If you'd like, you can use the question command. And when you do that, it guarantees me to respond to it. You don't have to submit a question. It can just be an opinion about something. Yeah, Pierce was really, really nice for the flying guys from far away in the Panopticon. That was the one place where Pierce was nice, because those flying guys were so far away, they were annoying. If they had shields, it was nice, yeah. Outside of that, Pierce was just too slow. It was really slow. There's a mod for Pierce that charges it instantly. Oh, really? That would make it nice. I didn't do that. I don't think I experimented enough. My grip was really strong, and I had, like, damage mods on it. I was melting people with that. I was melting bosses with grip. Made it hard to use anything else. Yo, what's good, Perfect Image? How are you? The Fran guy from formerly of IGN, he's something else when it comes to defending Highguard. I always liked Fran, when I had my own quote unquote cancel in 2020. I don't know, if he decided to take swings at me or not. I didn't pay much attention to people back then, so I don't know how polite or unkind he was. Everybody had their own response, but he was always nice to me. I saw the clip. I thought he went a little farther than, hey, let's wait and see. He went a little farther than that. Is he saying more since? I mean, is he really... I think sometimes guys like him struggle with this, and I get why they struggle with it. They get close to studios, they get close to devs, and they end up feeling empathy that... It isn't suicidal empathy, but it's empathy. It's like self-destructive empathy. It's like you're hurting yourself because you're like, oh, let's give him a shot, or let's not be too mean, or whatever. And I think it can be harmful. Like, it ends up harming your credibility. Like, I don't know how anybody can look at Highguard and be like, it's unique, it's new, we should give it a shot. It's like, I get not wanting to give over to negativity. I do. But man, oh man, dude, the public has spoken on this. Like, the public has spoken. It's a live service game. Have you ever seen a live service game succeed by being told to give it a shot? No. A live service game succeeds because people try it and they like it. I've said this before. The public is like water. Not only does the public take the path of least resistance in a video game, like water tends to, water can be life-giving and it can be destructive. You know what I mean? You need a drink of water, you got to consume some water, you got to wash your clothes, you got to, stay clean. Water's great for all those things. But water can rush through a town and destroy everything in its path. And that's what the public is like. If the public loves your game, you're going to flourish and you're going to do well. If the public hates your game, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. They're going to destroy it. That's what it is. I mean, so you cannot berate the public into liking something. It doesn't work. He's very much saying, wait and see, says Gandalf. He's not saying it's going to be good. I think he went a bit far, but to counter all us saying it's trash is kind of okay. No, I'm not even going full Bruce Lee. I'm not saying be like water. I'm saying that the public is like water. That's exactly what the public does. If they hate you or love you, you reap the benefits of both. You reap the benefits of both. Well, maybe not benefits. You reap the results of both. Yo, what's good, Behemoth? He said more the past week. Yeah, I'm not going to pull him up and put him on blast. That's not what I do here. I'll just say, listen, I understand having empathy for developers. I understand being like, could we at least give the game a shot? You know, why do we got to hate everything almost instantly? And I think this is the harsh reality. Y'all tried to make a game capitalizing on a moment. You know, everybody looked and saw opportunity in live service, and you're taking a risk when you do that. Go put $100 on black at the roulette table. You might win big, you might lose. That is the gamble that you are taking when you try to do a live service game. You better go in eyes wide open. You better go in eyes wide open. Because if the public decides they don't like your game or they move on, or if trends within the market shift beneath your feet like sand, that's it. You lose. Sorry. The public is mechanistic at this point. The market's mechanistic. It doesn't care. It's dispassionate. It doesn't have empathy. It doesn't. Believe you me, I know better than anybody that the public lacks empathy. So they're not going to care if your game looks like slop, or if your game looks derivative, or if your game looks boring, or if your game looks like something they've played before. Man, you could have missed your grandma's funeral to make this game and to really pour everything you had into it. Nobody cares. That's the harsh reality. It sucks, but it's true. And you were trying to leverage it anyway. You're trying to leverage it. Let's not sit here and act like they made this game altruistically. Like, I get wanting to be empathetic and sympathetic to developers. I do. They work hard. They try to make a great product. Sometimes it doesn't work. But, like, don't sit here and act like you did this as an act of charity or you did this altruistically. Every game like this is made from opportunism. That's all it is. They're trying to make money. They saw a market. They thought, we can make something in that lane, in the live service lane. We can go make a bunch of money. I refuse to believe that games like this are born mostly from passion. I highly doubt that. I very much doubt that. It's opportunism. You guys formed your studio in 2021. I'm not stupid. I know what was going on back then. Everybody was looking at Fortnite, the rise of live service, and they're looking at COVID numbers, and they're saying, we're going to make a bunch of money. That's what happened. And you're all learning a really hard lesson. You can't trend chase. Trend chasing means you're behind, which means you're probably not going to catch the wind on it. You're behind. So, like, I get wanting to be empathetic and sympathetic, but don't sit here and act like these studios made these games out of the goodness of their heart and were, like, spurning their charity. They made it to try to make a buck like everybody else. They're trying to make money. I don't know how you can look at the live service games that come out like this and not see them just drenched in opportunism. And look, try to get the bag, brother. Go. Try to make that money. Go for it. I'm not trying to stop you, but don't sit here and act like we owe them something because they worked hard or they put a lot of passion into it. They're trying to make money like everybody else. You know? We've moved from games born from passion to I need to feed the shareholders, make as much money as I can, and get out. And that was my theory. I said there's a reason these games look so corporate, so calculated, so production line. They look calculated. It looks like somebody in a room who's not paying attention to gaming is saying, well, that's popular, make that. I think it's one of the reasons that Herman Hulst thought that Concord and Firewalk were amazing. You're disconnected, my friend. You're at that corporate level. You got to get down into the trenches with the gaming community, and you'd have known that was a long shot. Not even a long shot. It was a dead horse. It wasn't a lame duck. It was a dead horse. It had no shot. This has to be part of the incentivization process. Outside investors come in and disrupt the industry to extract ROI. That's exactly right. That's why the games feel so corporate, calculated, and disconnected. And that's why something like Expedition 33 to everybody was this refreshing, what is this? Well, because it wasn't that. Didn't feel calculated, didn't feel like a trend chase, didn't feel like some corporate suit said do this. I mean, are you seeing the reports coming out about the guy that left Bethesda? Or no, he left ZeniMax? He left because there's a history there now. Redfall's not the only game that corporate suits said, we need something live service, we need something multiplayer. All those choices and all those decisions, man, they're losing talent because of it, because people are like, I don't want to work on that. You know, the studio behind Redfall is gone. Who's to blame? I'm ZeniMax. They wanted that live service dollar. They wanted that multiplayer dollar. It's happening a lot. Now, the good news is that the embarrassment's been enormous. Like, everybody jokes about Concord. Y'all at some level, and I'm appreciative of Concord, because it's a loud, blinking hazard sign. Don't do this. This doesn't work. You want to lose a bunch of money? You want, like, public embarrassment? You know, you want investors to be really angry? Yeah. Like, at some level, I'm like, that's great. Thank you for doing that, because now you've sent a loud and clear message that you cannot find success in the market that way. Meanwhile, Highguard, I opened the show, Polarin, saying Highguard doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. How does a rebel studio, like, you guys are known for being rebellious and, like, going against the grain. The best theory I could come up with is these guys saw what they did with Apex, and they started thinking that the methodology was the secret. Will you and Madam stream Mass Effect? Also, hello from Lexington. What do you mean will we stream Mass Effect? What are you talking about? You mean like when a new Mass Effect comes out? Madam and I don't really do gameplay on the channel anymore. We do like a Gaming News Tonight, which when you guys hit this goal, if it hits 500 on the week, that includes re-ups. So make sure you guys are celebrating your re-ups. We'll do Gaming News Tonight. I think for the time being, we're going to try and do Gaming News Tonight on Saturday. It seemed like more of you could tune in, and it's easier on us. Doing it on Friday is a lot, because it's a very full day. So Saturday is a little bit more doable for us. And it seemed like more of you were able to come. I don't see a reason for us to do gameplay. It tends to not go very well because, you know, unless it's something like Directive 8020, which that's like a Dark Pictures game. We really like those games. So, guys, really quickly, hit that like button. Try to get us to 200 likes over here on YouTube, man. Thank you so much for 150 likes already. That's typical. People assume their success is entirely their doing, ignoring the outside factors that are part of their of every success. Yeah, I think they thought that the methodology was their golden ticket. I think they thought, well, look, they made Apex in secret. They weren't supposed to make it, and then they just dropped it on the public. I think they did the same thing with Highguard. What'd they do? They made it in secret, and then they just dropped it on the public. The problem with doing that is you made something in secret that people largely have said they're not interested in. Maybe not non-existent, but a market already full will only move to your game if you stand out and for the right reasons. A lot of people don't understand that reality. A lot of people watch my marathon video and they didn't understand it at all. There was a guy in there that was interested in the game. And he said, I don't think people are understanding your points. He was interested in the game. And even he had to admit that the people on Defense Force did not understand the video. Oh, it's gonna fail because it's PvP? No. It's gonna struggle with re-engagement because it's PvP. Like, that is the saturated market. It is so saturated. How many games have come out and have failed to maintain a player base because they're PvP, man? People move on. You know, I don't see that becoming anybody's home game. They're going to go back to something else. People are like, PvP games are so popular. I don't want you to say PvP is going to fail because it's PvP. No, it's going to struggle with re-engagement because it's PvP. Highguard isn't going to even struggle with re-engagement. Highguard's going to struggle with engagement, period. The market has said, we don't want that. We've moved on from that. And the reason we're covering Highguard is it comes out in 1 week. And we learned that they didn't pay for their spot at the Game Awards. That's a little crazy if you ask me. It's like I said. I told y'all when we watched that trailer, I was like, I believe Jeff. I think Jeff's telling the truth. I think he just really liked the game and he thought, let's put this in front of people. The Marathon Defense Force is coming super hard on Reddit. Anywhere it comes up, it almost feels like bots. Bumblepants, let me tell you something. In all the years I've done this, when that's the response and the reaction, do you want to know why that's happening? Because they know we're right. They know we're right. Think about it. If you tried to make a video, right now, I've had people leave these comments, by the way. Yo, it's good, D knows. I've had people leave these comments. They say that, like, well, arcraiders is already dying. Do you want to know what happens to those comments? People laugh. Nobody feels the need to defend the game. People laugh. They're like, what are you talking about? Arcraiders is dying? What? People laugh at them. But when it comes to videos about Marathon or comments or criticism about Marathon, boy, oh boy, man, people are in there just defending the game. And it's like, what is going on here? I feel like, historically speaking, the harder the defense force comes for a game, the less likely it is to be successful. It's almost like they're compensating. It's like, what in the world is going on here? Also, the interesting thing about the defense force on Marathon in particular is I say a bunch of positive things at the beginning of the video. I'm like, they're doing the one thing that a lot of live service games are failing at. They've got a very clear identity. It's very recognizable. It has a vibe. I acknowledge it looks better. I acknowledge the gunplay looks good. I acknowledge it honestly looks like people are going to have fun with it. The issue that I kept hammering on in that video is I don't see anything in here that promotes re-engagement. I don't see anything here with staying power. And boy, do they get angry. And it's like, that feels like a very fair thing to say. I'm not calling it trash. I'm not calling it garbage. I'm not saying it looks like it just sucks. I'm quite literally talking about the single most important thing for a live service game, which is re-engagement patterns. I remember this happened every time these conversations come up. I remember this happened with X Defiant. I said, I don't know, boys. I said, I think they're going to struggle to maintain that player base. No, dude, it's killing it. It's crushing it. No. And then, months later, it's gone. Said the same thing about Splitgate. I was like, they thought that they had lack of re-engagement in Splitgate 1 because they didn't have enough content or battle passes or events or what have you. And I'm like, that's not why people stopped engaging. People stopped engaging because they had their fill. The Game Awards tweeted, just 1 week until the release of Highguard. I mean, you guys... let's just look here. Come on now. They tweeted this an hour ago. Is this on my For You or is this in my recent? Yeah, it's on my freaking For You. Hang on. It's the Game Awards account. All right, I'll pull this up for y'all. Here we go. Just 1 week until the release of Highguard. Jeff, stop helping us. Can you stop? Bruh. We don't even know what this game is. Radio silence since the Game Awards. Yet no more footage of it has come out since the trailer. Well, methinks this was probably a scheduled tweet set up over a month ago. Can't wait to see the Steam charts for this game when it drops, because at least 15 people are going to play it, and 2 weeks till it shuts down. I mean, this is bad, y'all. Now, here's the thing that I don't appreciate. People will describe that as the mob, or somebody was saying like the streamer mob has just decided to hate on it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Do you think we all got together and we decided, hey, we should all simultaneously hate this game that we know almost nothing about? You think there's like a collective? You think there's like a meeting? Hey, y'all, listen. The votes are in. We've all decided to hate this game. Especially if we didn't even know it existed before that night. It came up at the monthly hater meeting. Were you in the bathroom? That's right. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, listen, man, this is not, this happens fairly regularly. People attribute groupthink to being like, almost like, well, no one's actually giving it a fair shot. This is just a mob. This is just mob behavior. And I do think there are times where that takes place. You know, everybody gets a chuckle out of downvoting a Call of Duty trailer. You know, when the initial response is negative, but then it goes viral because people are downvoting it. So a bunch of people throw in because like they want to be a part of the hate, right? I don't think that's what's happening with Highguard. The vibe I get is not that that's what's happening, that people are just like going along with the hate. It was instantaneous rejection. Instantaneous rejection. Have you seen the bit they do with the girl? She's like really, really big and just kind of unpleasant to look at, right? And they know what they're doing. It's a whole gag. Like a really pretty girl goes up to a guy and was like, hey, you know, we're trying to get my girl a date. Would you be willing to talk to her? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. And then this girl walks out and the guy's like, oh, hell no. And they walk away, right? Like, that's what this was. It was like, hey, we know y'all get really excited for like the final showing of the night, and then they walk this game out and everyone's just, it's just like instinctive rejection. It can't be calculated or planned when it's that unanimous. People do jump on hate wagons, but it has to start with genuine opinions from different people. Well, this was just too instantaneous. Savage Shark Bite with a Prime. It's 53 months. Let me add it to the total. Thank you very much. Just checking the feeds here. Nintendo Today posted key art from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, one of the greatest games of all time. That was the key art used in the Japanese box art. You know, Narwaffle comes in with 9 months of a resub on purple. He's spamming the farty bomb emote. Thank you so much, Narwaffle. We're at 15, boys. Thank you so much. Since Highguard has mounts, we really will be beating a dead horse. It's true. It's true. It was instant. I was with you. To me, it got worse. Like the more we watch, I mean, you guys took that picture of me. I mean, I was like, what? Are you serious? We waited up all this time for this? Like, what? The biggest thing I dislike about the marathon community is any discussion of Bungie making a campaign gets instantly shot down as if it's impossible or utterly unwanted by the PvP bros. If there's one thing that gives me a lot of confidence in marathon struggles is the way that people are not just coming to its defense, but the people that are saying they can't wait to play it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Go read the comments. Go read the comments. This is a game for hardcore players. This is a game for PvP players. You want something soft, you go play something else. Okay. All right. If that's what your player funnel is going to be full of at launch, good luck. I wish you well. a bunch of hardcore gatekeepy, sweaty PvP players. Yeah, that's right for longevity. That game's gonna soar, you know. Jiminy Christmas. Some guy left a comment like that. I'm like, that's a great attitude. That'll really fill the funnel with players, you know. You want something that's not hardcore. You want something not sweaty. You go play something else. I think people will. I think this is the best advice you've given. Go play something else. All right, fine, I will. I did that with Call of Duty, and a lot of other people did as well. They got tired of the shenanigans. You know, all of a sudden Call of Duty's not selling like it used to. All of a sudden the player base doesn't look like it used to. Yeah, go play something else. Yeah, a lot of people did. Look at your last Marathon Vids comments. It's fascinating. I still don't believe the game will work, but the comments are way into it. What's good, Echo Doctrine? Oh, yeah, dude. The Defense Force is there. They're there, man. I feel like I need to do a follow-up video. Just reading your comments. Like, some of y'all are really upset that I said these things. They want sweaty until it gets sweaty, and then they're upset because it's sweaty. If there's one thing I know about sweaty PvP players, they hate their own. Have you ever listened to them play? Oh, man, these guys are sweaty. Yeah, we got some sweats. It's like, do you know what you are? Do you know what you are in the equation? You know, like you're going into a room, you haven't showered in a couple of days, you're not wearing deodorant, you stink to high heaven, and you're like, smells like BO in here, man. Somebody in here is unwashed. Yeah, there are probably some unwashed people in here, and you're one of them. Go take a bath. You know what I mean? Go wash them cheeks, dude. What are you doing in here? It's like people going to sweaty PvP, and they're playing sweaty, and then they complain about sweaty players. And it's like, huh? You're sweaty. What do you mean? Pot meat kettle? It's not pot meat kettle. It's pot meat pot. It's like you're doing the same thing. The sweats don't like sweats. It's weird. It's weird energy. They get so mad. Then the same thing happened with New World when the hardcore people were telling everybody to go play something else, and then everybody did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, go play something else. Yeah, you don't want to PvP. You don't want to play. You don't want to play hardcore. Go play something else. And you know what people will do? They're like, okay, fine. I play games to relax, you know, not to be berated by somebody who thinks I'm not good enough, skilled enough, hardcore enough, whatever, committed enough. Like, what is this? What are we doing here? I'm telling you, if that's the people that are going to fill your funnel day one, good luck to you. Good luck to you. You go ahead and gatekeep and tell all the people that are a little bit more casual, a little bit more laid back. You call us dad gamers all the meanest names you can think of. We'll be happier than a pig in slop playing a single player game or a co-op game. We will be thrilled to not be here with you. We will be so happy. Most people aren't about the sweaty PvP life. The vocal minority just talk too much and are too aggressive. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like the beginning of Rogue One. He's like, a man of your talents, a farmer. He's like, it's a peaceful life. Like, it's like, have you seen that meme when people are like, a man of your talents, walking away from PvP games? And it was like, it's a peaceful life. The sweats are just too sweaty. They're the cheaters. That's right, Cat. That's right. It's not for you, though. You don't play these games, brother. Now, hear me out, though, Incredible Black. Hear me out. I don't play these games. But I put 30-something hours in Arc Raiders, and I had a really good time. That's like a really good single-player campaign worth of gameplay. I can always go back and play and grind and do some new stuff and play with y'all and have a good time. They got 30 hours out of me, right? They got streams out of me, coverage. Fortnite got me to play, right? I put a lot of time into Fortnite. I shoutcasted Fortnite professionally a couple of times. If you want your live service game to be a live service game, I think you have to have more appeal than just, we want the hardcore sweatband guys to come in here and tell everybody else to get the frick out. I don't know. I love competitive games. The challenge is fun. Listen, excuse me. For every person that doesn't want to play a game like that, there's always, everybody has their opposite. You know what I mean? I'm 5'6", I'm a skinny little white dude. I don't like these competitive games. You know what I mean? By the looks of your avatar, you're my opposite. You could throw me around the room. And you like competitive games, right? I like having people that are my opposite in the gaming world. I think that makes the world exciting. That means you get games like, cozy little sim games and, railroad tycoon games and Civ games and RTS games, okay? And then those companies make bunches of money, and the industry is more solvent and strong. A 3-chord, what is it? A 3-string chord is not easily broken, right? The more of us there are, the better. I'm here to tell you that if you want your live service game to do well, and that is your audience, and that's how your audience is posturing, and that's your launching pad, you're going to need a whole lot more than luck. You're going to need a dadgum miracle to survive. Because that's a day one cannibalistic trajectory if I've ever seen one. When you tell me that you don't play highly competitive games anymore, how nice for you. That's right. That's right. That's right. You're on the other end of it. You're like, I'm out here. I'm in the thick of this crap and I hate it, but I can't stop. The comments are all over the place on that video. I'm intrigued to see how well it does, though. You know what the comments on that video represent? I'll tell you what the comments on that video represent. They represent, I think, anecdotal evidence to my thesis. And my thesis is that they have not changed public opinion enough to do as well as they need to. And I think that comment section on that video is just a very small anecdotal sampling of evidence to my thesis. That I don't think enough people have been persuaded. There are plenty of people who agree with me. There are plenty of people who are like, yeah, I still don't know about this game. There are plenty of people who are like, it just looks like a hero shooter. And people are like, it's not a hero shooter. They're classes, you see. And the classes just have a lot in common with heroes from Apex. Okay, if the public sees hero shooter, it doesn't matter what you call it. You call it whatever you want. Call them runners. Call them classes. Call them characters. I watched multiple videos of people who were like really positive about Marathon. You know what they kept slipping up and doing? They kept calling them heroes. They kept calling them characters. They kept calling them ultimates. Like, they just accidentally started using all the verbiage of a hero shooter because, I don't know, it looks and talks and walks an awful lot like a duck. Even though you're trying to put like some kind of goose costume on it to trick people. It's not a duck. You see, it's different. It's a goose. And it's like, you can call it whatever you want. If the public sees that, their response is going to be divisive. Because a lot of people just decided they don't want to play a hero shooter. They don't. They don't want to go into a game where some guy's like, kaploom, I can see through the walls. Or, whew, and they throw out a little drone. Or, kaploom, and they like teleport away. There are people that don't like that. They've decided they don't like that. So you can call whatever you want. You can split hairs with me all day long. That's fine. That makes for great disagreement. When the rubber meets the road, the public's going to look at that game, they're going to play that game, and they're going to see this is kind of a hero shooter. you want to get persnickety and hair split in the comment sections or on Reddit or in Discord, that's fine. You do that to your heart's content. The public's mind isn't going to be changed by arguments in the comment section. They're going to be changed and won over by gameplay. And I had people that were positive about the game on podcasts saying they had played it. They're talking about how some of these abilities are busted. Some of these abilities are so strong. Some of these abilities are going to be broken. Metagaming will descend on this thing in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, metagaming is going to descend on this game. And you know who's really, really bad historically battling against metagaming? Bungie. They're terrible at it. They are so bad at it that they basically just embraced it, and they called it Seasons of Dominance. Good luck, y'all. Good luck. Game comes out in a month and a half. March 5th is the leaked release date of Marathon. Good luck. If you look at the comment section on my video, I'm serious. It's anecdotal evidence to my position. They have not convinced enough people. People are still very split. The people that were already interested, the people that were like, maybe, I don't know. They're like, well, it looks better. I'm excited. Yeah, Bungie's really good at that. They're really good at reeling you in with improved trailers. We're listening to feedback, hype, well-designed games. Like they've been doing this for a long, long time. Getting people that were already kind of on the line to stay on the line, stay hooked, that they need more than that. You got to convince the public. And I don't feel like they've done that. They have a decade. They have a decade of being terrible at managing metagaming in their own game. And you think they're going to be able to manage it in this game? You got homies that can see through walls, send out drones that freeze you in place? Like, come on, y'all. Like, it's going to be a metagaming mess really, really quickly. Here's one of the things that people keep saying in the comment section. This I think is an excellent point. It's not a hero shooter because they don't limit what you can run. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Have you thought about that for more than a few minutes? Because I think that you should. I think you should really consider what that means. They're not limiting. You go in with a 3-man squad, y'all can be whatever you want. You can go 3 deep, all on the same runner. What do you think that's going to look like? Gordon with a member plus, thank you so much. Let me add it to the total. I believe you can see Hunter mechanics in the latest video. It's frame designs and Destiny coded. Not a bad thing. Oh, there's a lot of derivative things for sure. There are abilities and things taken right from Apex. There's abilities and movements and things taken right from Destiny. That, you know, it's got a lot of derivative things in it. That whatever. All I'm saying is ready for that pendulum panic, Bungie. What do they do in Destiny the last couple times something came out broken? What do they do? They just disabled it, right? That's who's in charge of this game, by the way. What do we got here? I saw there was a big update coming to FBC Firebreak. Let's take a look at this. The latest major update for FBC Firebreak Rogue Protocol is out for free on all platforms. This update includes the new Rogue Light game mode, Endless Shift, weapon inspect animations, new cosmetics, and many bug fixes. Since Endless Shift is a brand new way to play the game, we've also published a blog explaining the new game mode. Can you get me links, Brett? I mean, I guess it's on their Steam page. Let's just go to their Steam page. Let's see here. FBC Firebreak on Steam. It's got terrible reviews. We know that. That's fine. That's fine. Let's go here. Let's go here. January the 19th. Rogue Protocol update out now. Patch notes. A free update introducing Endless Shift, a wave-based roguelite mode. It's wave-based, though. I can't stand rogues that are wave-based. We'll see. I don't know. Matt and I have been looking for a good rogue shooter, but Endless Shift, the brand new roguelite game mode that fundamentally changes the way you play the game. Okay. In Endless Shift, you'll be tasked with descending into abandoned areas of the oldest house, so infected with hiss that the zones themselves, along with all that dare to enter them, become distorted over time. During a shift, you and your crew's job is to clear as many waves of enemies as you can before becoming overwhelmed, collecting a new currency called corruption for every kill along the way. Corruption can be spent between waves to gain powerful new enhancements for your firebreaker and their equipment. The longer you survive, the more enhancements you'll collect, allowing you to create wild new builds on the fly. Once a shift is complete, you'll earn exclusive cosmetics based on your lifetime kill count, as well as over 100 new enhancements. Ready to return to your favorite crisis? I mean, listen, I applaud them for continuing to do work on that game. You know, it was basically a flop. Got some renewals over here on Purple. Thank you so much. Jeff coming in with a Prime 3 months. Thank you so much, Jeff. Wait, did I already thank Jeff? No, I didn't. Let me add to Jeff. The Light Leap coming in. 40 months. Happy New Year. Was on a really long trip in Namibia? Namibia? I don't know what that is. So, only back now. Hope you and the family are good. Continue to crush it. Thank you so much, Light Leap. I feel like I've heard of Nambia, but you got like an extra letter in there that's throwing me off. Excuse me. Have you tried Gunfire Reborn? Yeah, my wife and I have played it a bunch and beaten it a handful of times. We didn't beat it on harder difficulties, which is how you unlock the seasonal content, which I think is annoying. We also played a bunch of RoboQuest. Unfortunately, RoboQuest still has never fixed its port to console where you get really far in the game, and if you're playing online co-op, the non-host player disconnects pretty regularly when you get to the end. It's Nambia, just northwest of South Africa. Okay. I feel like I've heard it. I just didn't realize it was spelled that way. That extra I is just throwing me off because it looks like Namibia, but Nambia is how I think I've heard it said. Nambia, sorry. Is that game part of the Control universe? Yes, it is. You see references to Firebreak all throughout the Bureau when you're playing Control. So, yeah, that's, you know, not to beat that conversation to death. You know, we talked about it the other day. I just continue to think, if you look at the response, if you look at the poll I even put on my channel about, you know, is Marathon a hero shooter? I think people's hesitancy to call it a hero shooter is because they know it's stigmatized and they're fighting against that. They know that's a significant part of the game's identity. They know folks, and listen, this is the problem. I don't care if it's a hero shooter. If you're going to make a hero shooter, make a hero shooter. Wear it. Do you know what I'm saying? Wear it. You keep telling people it's not a hero shooter. You dig your heels in and you say, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. Okay, fine, it's not. A bunch of people are going to buy it and play it and be like, oh, this kind of feels like a hero shooter. And then they're going to be mad. It'd be like insisting that Returnal's not a rogue. And then somebody buys it and they're like, what do you mean it's not a rogue? I mean, that's an extreme example, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't think you're gaining much by insisting that it's not. I think you're actually in large respect, I think you're hurting the game because you're giving people an impression of the game that I don't think is wholly accurate. So it's not. It's just shooter with heroes. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm to the point where I'm like, you call it whatever you want. Call them classes. Call them runners. That's fine. That's fine. The debate is beyond that. Like, the debate about what to call it is like, okay, fine. We can have that debate for the rest of the time, and nobody's really going to budge in what they think. The debate is beyond that. Can a game that looks and feels that way and plays that way garner enough people, not just at launch, but in perpetuity? Can they keep enough people in there? I don't think so. Marathon pre-order trailer just dropped. All right, let's take a look here. Let's see. Did they drop it on YouTube and not Twitter? Usually it hits Twitter later. Twitter is slow. Surprisingly, it's not on my homepage. Pre-order trailer. Pre-order trailer's 4 minutes old. Okay, well, their release date leaked. So the assumption that I have here is they're pushing this out because of that.
Tau City is dying. Poisoned. Its secrets. Buried and rotting. With the UESC holding a shovel. That's where you come in, Runner. A living weapon, reborn, every time you break. The truth is in your hands. Survive or die.
So yeah, so the date was real. Man, I just don't know, y'all. Do you remember when completely different game? Do you guys remember when we were watching the trailer for Star Wars Outlaws and they were showing the combat, and I said, I feel like they're trying really hard to make the combat look a certain way, right? It was like I could tell that there was like something, it was hard to explain it. It was like you're trying to show me something. You're like, looks cool, doesn't it? Looks cool, doesn't it? There's something about the way they package the gameplay in this that just doesn't, I don't know. It reminds me of that. They're completely different games, and Outlaws was awful. I'm not saying it's like that. I'm saying it's packaged in a way that makes it seem as though just the way that it opens, right? Just the way this opens, I don't know. This anytime you're doing the slow moving thing, I don't know. It's just it seems like they're trying to package the gameplay in a way instead of just letting me see gameplay. Does that make sense? What exactly was hype in that video? That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't see it. Like, just the slow moving, okay, he gets sniped, he goes to run in here, and then just gets blasted. It's Bungie packaging. This is how they do every trailer and reveal. Bungie fans are most happy when the trailers and hype before the release. I've always said that the Bungie community is the happiest during announcements, not during gameplay. I said that after 10 years of covering, 5 years of covering the game, but 10 years of watching the game. I would say the community is always at their peak of excitement after an announcement. The trailer sets the tone of the game. Yeah, I'm here to tell you that's exactly what it is. The tone of the game is not high octane, and yet they're trying to make it look high octane. I remember they did this with Destiny's PvP. Remember? This is actually really, really funny because I was so right, and streamers got so mad at me. I was told I was making a mountain out of a molehill. Do you guys remember before Destiny 2 came out, they put out a Crucible trailer, and I said that is really misrepresentative of the experience in the Crucible because there was a demo and we all played the demo. I played PvP like all day with like Ramblin' and Dr. Lupo, and I had like similar scores to them because it was a team shot meta where you got credit for assists as equal to a kill. So I'm putting up similar scores to guys that are like 10 times the PvP player that I am, and it was because of how the scoreboard went. It was very slow. It was very plotting. We all remember that PvP in vanilla Destiny 2 was this sort of slow plotting mess and that everybody kind of disliked it. And I remember being critical of the Crucible trailer. I said, they are really packaging this in a way. They're trying to make it seem like it's this high octane, high intense thing. And I had streamers tell me I was making a mountain out of a molehill and I was exaggerating. Do you guys remember what happened after the launch of Destiny 2? One of the single most complained about things was how slow and boring PvP was. I was literally bullseye on the mark, exactly right. I said they packaged that trailer in a way wholly misrepresentative of what the Crucible played like, and everybody was really mad when they jumped in and played it. It was boring, it was slow, it was terrible. I feel like I'm looking at the exact same kind of packaging. It's this packaging that's like, it doesn't want you to really see flow. It doesn't really want you to see combat rhythm. It's like this attempt to make it look a certain way. I don't know. My Bungie spidey sense is tingling all over this game. All over this game. And what people end up doing is they say, your bias against Bungie's why you're saying this, and your bias against PvP games is why you're saying this. And it's just like, I think that's such a reductionist attitude to be like, well, yeah, you covered the game for half of a decade. You watched all their twists and turns and all the inside baseball with what they did with PvP and what they did with balancing and all of that. And yeah, you're not able to really look at this objectively. And it's like, man, I've covered them and their games for such a long time. It's like I speak their language, and I'm here to tell you, these trailers make me feel like that's what they're doing. Oh, Memories in Orbit review embargo has dropped. Insider Gaming has published one. They gave it an 8 out of 10. So this one, I believe, comes out tomorrow. I wanted to check this one out. They said here on Twitter, it stands out in a crowded field of Metroidvanias with beautiful art direction and an engaging narrative. Well, that's exciting. That's one of the first releases this year that I was interested in. Game Informer says, taking cues from the likes of Hollow Knight and Ori, Mio, Memories in Orbit, is a punishing platforming and exploration game that is well worth your time if you're up for the big challenge. Oh, so they've made it. It's going to be more difficult than I expected based on art style. I did not expect it to be. And plus, it's rating everyone 10. Every step forward must be earned, and when you do, the game often hands you setbacks to balance things out. Even the other parts of the game offer significant hurdles, from lengthy precision platforming sequences to punishing bosses. You can spend hours trying to get one more life segment added, but natural story progression through the game readily sees Mio weakened and a life segment taken away. Checkpoints might be far away, but without any of the difficulty assists applied, you can easily die. Where another game might present the next essential path forward as a clearly marked door, Mio often requires that you apply some new upgrade in and out of the way corner you might have easily missed, leaving you to wander without direction for long stretches. Metroidvania fans are going to be kind of split on that, though, because I often think that like that's one of the charms of a Metroidvania is that you present me with a difficulty or a challenge, and then I kind of know where I'm supposed to go get it. Like, I need a double jump, I need a wall jump, things like that. You tuck those things away and make them hard to find. I think Metroidvania fans might be split on that, because I prefer to not have it be that mysterious and hidden from sight. Like, if you want me to go get an upgrade, you know, don't make it like a mystery, you know. Sure, make it a challenge. I got to go get it. Sure, but like if you're like, hey, you don't have double jump, and I'm like, well, where do I get double jump? And they're just kind of like shrugging at you. If it's like this tucked out of the way secret, I think that can lead to a sense of futility and aimlessness, like which can make a Metroidvania, I think, frustrating. We'll see. We'll see. I would take a different position, says Broken Earth. I would just say, okay, and wait to be proven correct. It doesn't make sense to convince people who won't be convinced. I'm not sure what you're responding to, Broken Earth. It's going to make the game longer than it needs to be. Yeah, if it just elongates playtime because you're busy searching for something, you know? I'm looking at responses to the, apparently you can't pre-order it yet. Someone says facts, Neo. So does Cyberpunk. No Man's Sky was 100% saved by updates. If you're going to debate that arcraiders. If you're going to debate that Marathon can be saved by updates and kept alive by updates, I think there's a significant difference between Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky. Neither of those games require a vibrant player base to survive. A game like Marathon does. Like the player base numbers plummeting in No Man's Sky in the months after it came out, or Cyberpunk, that doesn't hurt their ability to course correct. If Marathon goes flash in the pan and a month later a bunch of people have walked away and they start committing to fix it, man, it's really hard to get people to come back. The whole Marathon's going to be great because Bungie made it and it looks better now. Oh, okay, Broken Earth. I wasn't sure what you were responding to. The guy said no game has ever been saved by updates. Well, yeah, that certainly isn't true. In the context of a game like Marathon, I think it's incredibly hard to quote-unquote save a live service game if it takes a misstep or a miscue, or if it kind of loses its footing. Because to me, you know, Anthem is a pretty decent example of this. Anthem had a ridiculous amount of potential, but the player numbers plummeted, and there was no money in it. They couldn't justify the bandwidth and the investment needed to make it work. Xstasis says, this game made me cry for its gorgeousness and for its difficulty. 2026 begins with a very difficult game arriving day one on Xbox Game Pass. I'm assuming he's talking about Mio. Is he? Yeah, he's talking about Mio. So it looks like Memories in Orbit is going to be a tough game based on what everybody's saying. Xstasis is saying that it's difficult. This is not a... I wonder if that's going to be like a new trend in Metroidvanias. Like, are we going to see more and more games adopt a more challenging approach, you know, inspired by games like Hollow Knight and Silksong? Because the art style is fantastic, but if you have like a very stretched out feel where, you know, checkpoints are far away and death is very likely, that can turn me off really, really quickly if you create flat tire loops in the game. I don't mind really difficult sections. Like, you know, there were some sections of Mario Galaxy that were really tough, but you can just keep retrying them. You're just like right there. There were sections of, you know, Ori 1 and 2 or Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown that were really tough. It puts you right there. Wheezy says, I wish people would stop acting like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk are the norm. People remember those as shining examples, but again, there's 20 to 30 failures for every one success story. That's not the norm. Stop deluding yourself. I'm not saying Marathon will or won't fail, but it isn't as simple as they can fix it later. It's 2026. There's too many good games for people to waste their time waiting on you to get your crap together. First impressions are everything, man. They made a bad first impression. If they make a bad first impression on March the 5th, you know, I'll be honest with you, it's not even about a bad first impression. It's about a reason to come back. You could play it and have fun. A lot of people played Splitgate and had so much fun and then very quickly just moved on. I think that's the biggest dilemma, and that's the biggest challenge. Not Sony's call. Bungie still operates independently. Says who? Says who? I don't think they're operating independently anymore. The CFO of Sony said they were restructuring leadership. You don't get to restructure leadership if you're in control. I mean, I'm sorry, Sony doesn't get to restructure leadership if Bungie's in control. Pete Parsons was the first shot across the bow. I think there's more coming. I don't think they're in charge at all anymore. I think Sony kicked that door square in and said, we're calling the shots now. If I don't know if it was based off of revenue, earnings. I don't know what it was based off of. I don't know how they pulled it off, but I don't think they operate independently anymore. Bungie lost that independence after being in a financial downward spiral. Fair games should be fun. Fair games should be canceled. Good night. I don't see that. I don't see fair games coming to the market. I just don't see it. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, dude. There's a reason that the new guy was called head of Bungie and not CEO. Yeah, when they put Truman in charge, they didn't give him the actual title of CEO. Again, I think that's evidence to a takeover. I don't think Bungie's in charge anymore. You're kidding about fair games? Yeah, I gathered that. With the upside down smiley faces, I gathered that you weren't being serious. The new guy's title is head of studio, not CEO. Right. Yo, good morning, Jason F. How are you? The good thing about single-player games being unfinished or sloppy on release is it's just going to make me wait a year or two for them to fix everything, and then it's on sale. For sure. For sure. Bungie's just an SIE studio now? Yeah, they're listed as a PlayStation studio, and the CFO said that they were restructuring leadership. I don't think you get to do that if Bungie's still operating independently. I just don't think so. Either it gets canceled at the 11th hour or it falls flat on its face. That game is the most obvious DOA. Which one you saying is DOA, Wheeze? Highguard or Fair Games? Well, I mean, maybe both, to be quite honest. Guys, we almost have 200 likes on the video. Make sure and do that. We're 2 hours into the stream. Is Bungie SIE's worst accusation? I think you meant to say acquisition. No, I think Firewalk was their worst. Because with Bungie, PlayStation could still come out with a lot of good with bad, right? They could come out with all the data on live service, all the player trends, all that intel's very, very helpful. A decade of live service experience and insights into player patterns and player behavior, that's very valuable. I think the Destiny IP is also still very valuable. So I don't necessarily think they're in an absolute loss with Bungie. I think it's definitely not the greatest acquisition ever given what's going on, but I also don't think PlayStation is that concerned because they absorbed like 200 to 300 employees into SIE. I don't think you do that if you feel like, yeah, this was we made a terrible choice and this company sucks. I think their absorption of talent is at some level part of the plan. I think at some level they knew we're going to be getting a whole lot of talent out of this. We're also going to be ending up with an IP and a long-standing studio name. I do not think that they're coming out totally in the red on this. I don't think so. They overpaid a little. Oh, for sure. They paid like an extra $1 billion for people to not quit. That's given what's going on now. Yeah, I would say they overpaid for sure. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're thinking about the long-term plan of live service, I think they're thinking this is an absolute win. It only cost us a couple billion to get all this. We're going to have an IP. We're going to have all this talent. We're going to have this studio. We're going to have all this data and information on live service, and we spent $3 billion to get it. I think in the grand scheme of things, they're probably counting that as a pretty big win. Imagine what it would cost you to get, a decade of data on World of Warcraft players. Like, what do you think that costs? If you went to Blizzard, checkbook in hand, and said, we want to buy the studios that have been working on WoW, we want all that data, all that information on player behavior and player spending, you think you're getting away with that for, a couple billion? I don't know. Wasn't Jim Ryan that said he saw the Bungie acquisition as more profitable than ABK for Microsoft? I don't know if he drew a direct correlation. I think he saw the ABK acquisition as dangerous. He said it would lead to talent loss, and it would be very, very hard to manage all the studios. That was kind of Jim Ryan's take, which there's been a lot of talent loss, and we'll see how it pans out with managing all these studios, as some of them have been closed down. Oh, Weezy, you're talking about Fair Games. I'm willing to bet any amount of money that Fair Games is either getting completely overhauled or it's been canceled. Well, the person in charge left after they had a bad showcase. Like, people tried it and it didn't do very well. At worst, they just shutter Bungie after Marathon flops and reallocate resources over the next couple of years. Maybe. How long until they recoup that? I'm sure they're going to want to see some of that purchase make them money sooner rather than later. I think we think too one-dimensionally about this. Like, I don't think PlayStation writes the check for Bungie and then says, well, we need to make all that back or this was a complete waste. Like, number one, they amortized it or however you pronounce it. So they were like paying for it over the years. So they didn't incur all the operational costs in the same fiscal period. So they spread out the payments. Destiny as a game is still making money. The bigger problem is not the $3.6 billion in recouping that. I think the bigger question is, can you justify Bungie's operational costs? I think we think like super one-dimensionally about it. Like with ABK, it was like, oh, they got to make back that $70 billion. And I kept telling people, it's not about making back the $70 billion. It's about, can you justify that gargantuan operational cost that you're now shouldering? Can you make that profitable? That's why I said, in the wake of ABK, what are they going to do? They're going to shutter studios. Why? It's one of the quickest ways to recoup cost because you lower operational costs. You lower your yearly outgo of keeping these studios up and running. So you get rid of your smaller studios that aren't going to turn nearly as much revenue. Their operational costs are get out of here. We don't need you. Like that's the issue. I don't necessarily think the price, the sticker price of Bungie isn't the question. It's the operational cost. That's why I've continued to say I don't see Marathon generating enough money to justify its own existence, especially given the size of Bungie. I don't see Bungie being able to stay open unless they get a funding publishing agreement from Sony to build Destiny 3. How else do you justify a studio that size? The number of departments they have, the number of employees that they have. You cannot justify a studio that size unless you're working on something of that potential size and then subsequent return. Yeah. anywhere from 800 to 1,000 employees. The operational cost of a studio that size is the 3 billion's nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's, can we keep these guys open? Can we keep footing the bill to run Bungie and to keep the employees and their health packages and everything else? Can we do all that and have the actual company creating a product that justifies the company's existence? You see what I'm saying? PlayStation's bragging about having their most profitable generation ever. I don't think they're concerned about like, oh man, we really lost money, on Bungie. I think it's more of an ongoing, enduring problem. Can Bungie justify its existence? What is it, 700 or 800 employees still? I have no idea where the count is, but they're still a pretty large company. And when you have veterans at the company, like not veterans from like the military, but like veteran employees, as in they've been there a really long time, a lot of those people are drawing really, really big salaries. Haseo comes in and pokes the line with a gifted member to 19. Thank you so much, Haseo. You don't speak in losses if you're profitable. You just absorb the loss within the profit. Yeah, and another one comes in from Haseo. He's trying to set up the 5-bomb dunker. Thank you so much, Haseo, for doing that. It's very generous of you. If you look at how Sony and PlayStation have been talking to the shareholders and how they've been reporting on this gen, I think a lot of the bluster and a lot of the people claiming that like, well, they lost $400 million on Firewalk. That's not true. That's some of the most ignorant reporting I think I've ever seen. The people that have claimed that they lost $400 million. That's not how that worked. That's not how that went down. Even the person who reported it and claimed it didn't say that. That's not what was claimed. All that money was procured from outside investment. It had nothing to do with PlayStation. We don't even know where that money went. We have no idea what's going on with that. But it didn't come from PlayStation's pocketbook. They didn't write a $400 million check, which is what many people believe. And the situation with Bungie as well, they counted it as a valuation loss on paper, like an asset valuation loss in the one report. But they're still reporting their most profitable generation ever. Ghost of Yotei has now sold over 200,000 physical units in Japan. It's the second best-selling PlayStation 5 game in Japan for 2025 behind Monster Hunter Wilds. It was the only non-Switch Switch 2 game in the top 30 best-selling games in Japan for last week. Man, I thought Ghost of Yotei flopped, though, man. Yeah, I thought it flopped. Go woke, go broke and all that, It's weird. It's weird how that played out. A stylus? I probably have one in like a... There's a jar of pens around here that might have one. If you look around that corner, it might be... I don't have one sitting here, Mama. I would love a D3 just to keep my purple lightsaber. Japan loves Japan. Yotei didn't flop, but it underperformed. Who said that it underperformed? Where was that reported? Everything I've seen has stated the literal opposite. I know people that wanted to see it fail have to lick their wounds to be like, yeah, but it still didn't do that. It was the 10th most sold game last year. It was an exclusive. It was on one platform, and it was in the top 10 of most sold games in 2025. An enormous year with huge games coming out. Big, huge sports franchises, Battlefield, Call of Duty, all these big, huge name titles up there, and it's in the top 10. How on earth is that underperforming? A sequel on one platform was up there holding its own with multi-plat, long-standing franchises. I don't think I saw a single report anywhere that claimed it was underperforming. Estimates have it at the same or surpassing Tsushima. Like, and Tsushima had a really, really, really nice start because it, anything that landed in that time frame was doing really well. 2019 to 2021 was a very, very good time for game sales. Yota underperformed compared to Tsushima. Yeah, that's not been reported anywhere. That was claimed by grifters that have no data. A lot of those guys just flat out lie about the game at every turn. None of those people are trustworthy. They've lied about the game thousands of times at this point. Like, I didn't see any reputable sources, any data reports, any sales reports saying it underperformed compared to Tsushima. Most of the estimates I saw it keeping pace or outpacing Tsushima, not underperforming. It's just like the Assassin's Creed Shadows nonsense. The goalpost just kept moving to the point they ended up in the dadgum parking lot. It was, oh yeah, go woke, go broke, gonna be terrible. Sells incredibly well. Oh yeah, but it sold less than Tsushima did though. What? Was that the argument? Was that ever the argument? AC Shadows, yeah, gonna flop, go woke, go broke. Second most profitable Assassin's Creed in history behind Valhalla. Valhalla is almost the exception to the rule because of 2020 and COVID and the surge in sales. And it's the second most sold, second most revenue generated by an AC game in its launch year behind AC Valhalla. And what do people run to? Yeah, but Ubisoft share value though. Yeah, they're not related. The goalposts of predictions on both of those games shifted so much they ended up tailgating in the dadgum parking lot. Like nobody maintained any semblance of a coherent argument against those games. It was dishonest grifting from its head to its toe. You know what I mean? Like that's all it takes, and people just flat out lie about a game. That's the argument they go to when it didn't flop. Well, it's not doing as good as Tsushima, but that's not even something that's backed. Nobody has cited any reports that claim that. I haven't seen any reports. The only thing I saw was at least two different places estimated it was keeping pace or outpacing Tsushima, not behind it. Shadows made Ubisoft stock plummet? No, it didn't. That is demonstrably false. Meaning you can prove that that's false. Shadows did not make Ubisoft stock plummet. That's false and untrue. There's nothing behind that other than people that wanted to see Shadows do poorly. Ubisoft was in an absolute tailspin publicly. Their stock value has been dropping like rapidly for a very, very long time. They're one of the biggest companies in game development. One game was not going to change the status of their stock value. They were courting potential solutions, whether it was a buyout or divestiture. They're courting all these different options. The confidence in their share value goes into the toilet. Everybody's like, yeah, it was because of AC Shadows. Oh, for frick's sake. Like, look at any of the dialogue surrounding that game and the family that's in charge and not wanting to sell, and they do this weird thing with some of the property. Like, they were doing all kind of stuff that was absolutely tanking their stock value. It had nothing to do with AC Shadows. Anybody with even like a shred of credibility would never say that because they know it's not true. They're like, no, that's not why. Stock value is dropping due to other reasons. Yeah, they've had problems for years. They've had problems for years. And then you had all these leaks coming out about, are they selling? They don't want to sell. They want to maintain control, but they were also courting purchases. It was like, what are y'all doing over there? They had scandals. They had complaints. They had multiple games not do well. And then everybody wants to hang the stock value on AC Shadows. It's like, okay. The game came out a week before the end of the fiscal year. One game wasn't saving. They're already falling stock. Yeah, This is the last 5 years. This is a 5-year snapshot of Ubisoft share value. That's 5 years, y'all. But yeah, sure, that's AC. This is all AC Shadows' fault. Like the true dizzying intellect of gaming YouTube grifters that could not admit they got it wrong. Like that's they wanted to claim that the stock value of Ubisoft was because of AC Shadows. Are you freaking insane? Like, that's 5 years of just decline. Look at the steep drops here. I mean, look at this. That's just an absolute free fall from like 20 down to 15. Here's one where it's around 8 and it drops all the way to 5. Just an absolute dadgum free fall. But then we're going to look here in 2025 when the stock value is hovering for most of the year in the $2 to $3 range, and then it finally bottoms out around the same time, mind you, that they're talking about doing all kinds of things about potentially being bought out, and then they do something weird with Tencent or whatever the frick's going on. They've got scandal, they've got controversy, they got all these claims from employees. Like, but yeah, it's Assassin's Creed Shadows' fault. Come on, y'all. Come on. You know what the best antidote for all the misinformation out there is? 30 seconds of your time and Google. Like, take 30 seconds and just be like, yeah, let me see. Buy at the dip. You're right. It's time. It's time, isn't it? Buy at the dip, dude. $1.50 a share. $1.50 a share. They were down before lockdown, saw a bump like everyone else, came crashing back down to where they should have been the whole time. Yeah. A 5-year share value decline. But, you know, AC Shadows is to blame. Yeah, because this is what people will do, right? They'll do this. They're like, yeah, well, look at this. This is 1 year snapshot. This is all on AC Shadows. You know, and it's easy to look at that and think, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Game did so poorly. By the way, game came out in March, which is real interesting, isn't it? This is the stock value before the game came out. This is the stock value when the game comes out. Look at that. Yeah, then their fiscal reporting comes back, and everybody's getting a look at what they're doing and how their game's doing, and boom, it falls down. And then it falls again here after October. But yeah, it's all AC Shadow's fault. A 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master. There it is, securing the first gifted member from me of the week. Thank you, sir. Whoever hits it gets it. That was sitting there for a while. Haseo set that one up. YouTube steals it. Want to know what the damage was? Yeah, let's talk about Rainbow Six Extraction. Let's talk about Skull and Bones. Let's talk about Roller Champions. Let's talk about X Defiant. These were all games that released while the stock value was dropping. AC Shadows comes out. In the lead up to AC Shadows coming out, the stock value goes up. They actually have their fiscal earnings reporting, and they meet and they say, yeah, it's one of the most, you know, financially successful Assassin's Creed games, only outdone by Valhalla. All their other reporting ain't great. So the stock value drops again, and people blamed AC Shadows. Ubisoft has been a high-risk product for almost a decade. Yeah. People probably think about Yote because Google AI Overview says it had a sharp decline compared to Tsushima. We don't know where it is. I don't think we have any reports. Ghost of Yote lifetime sales. Yeah, as of November, 3.3 million. According to Sony's financial reports, making it a strong launch similar to its predecessor, though some trackers suggested it might be slightly underperforming compared to Tsushima. The game hit 2 million sales within days of October release. Like, again, I've not seen any concrete info. Everything I saw said it was either keeping pace or outpacing Tsushima. The other thing you have to realize is that's not how you measure a game's success to begin with. That's not how you measure a game's success. Like, if the launch game sold more, like when it first came out, like let's say Spider-Man 1, right? Let's say Spider-Man 1 Everyone couldn't believe it. Finally, a crazy, awesome-looking Spider-Man game. It comes out. It sells really well. If in the opening week, Spider-Man 2 sold less, nobody would be like, yeah, Spider-Man 2 flopped, or it failed, or it underperformed. You're using the word underperformed in a way that's not how people use it. Underperform would mean it performed less than what the company wanted to see. Not like, oh, it didn't sell as well as the launch title. It's actually really common for like a game to blast out of the gate like that. Spider-Man 1, God of War 2018, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then the sequel doesn't sell quite as strong in the opening weeks. That's actually very common. No one says, oh, those games underperformed. Because that's not how you use that term. That term is usually used to refer to like, we expected it to do this well, and then it underperformed. It didn't do as well as we wanted to see. It didn't sell as well as we were hoping. The Sony financial report was July for September. Them reporting October sales is them flexing a game they didn't have to report sales of. I mean, we'll find out at the next earnings report. Ghost of Yotei was beautiful, but mid-AF. I don't expect everybody to love it. I thought it was great. It was my favorite game last year. It was basically tied for first with Expedition 33. I absolutely loved it. I put 63 hours into it. Only thing I didn't like was the final boss fight. I didn't think that they put it together very well. I thought it was annoying. Once I figured out how to put together a kit to minimize the cold damage, I thought the really challenging fight on top of Mount Yotei was the best. I thought that was the best. Lono, you're too logical. People don't want logic. They want to make a statement that proves them right no matter how ridiculous the statement is. The Kitsune area was amazing. Kitsune's story was great. Crimson Kimono was great. Spider Lily's story was great. Yeah. It was. I thought it was great. I really liked it. The only thing I didn't like was the final boss fight. That was it. Yeah, I saw that tweet from Okami. I think, is that how you say it? Marathon has some serious talent for their voice cast. Ben Starr, Jennifer English, Roger Clark, Neil Newborn, Rich Keeble, Fred. Okay, so I'm not going to read all these. That's a lot of money, y'all. That is a lot of money. This game dope AF. Skydance's Behemoth. That's a VR game, isn't it? I didn't like guns in a samurai game in Yotei. I don't think it bothered me. I didn't use them all that much. I didn't. I did like the one that you could kind of use up close. That was kind of cool. I feel like you got that pretty late in the game, though. Yep, just started it? Okay. They never become the dominant weapons that you use? Yeah, I don't feel like I use the guns all that much. You're going to get leaked on in Marathon, bro. We know you only play story cutscene walking games. Okay. So let me get this straight. You're predicting that I'm going to get leaked on in a PvP game. That's like bragging that you're taller than me. It's not a very big achievement. You know what I'm saying? You. He's like, hey, bro. Hey, little bro. Hey, little bro, you're going to get crapped on in a PvP game. Oh? The games that I don't play much and admit I'm not very good at? Whoo-wee. Look out now. We got a big hombre in chat, y'all. We got a Giga Chad. He's ready. He's ready to stomp all over casual dad, 44-year-old who doesn't really play PvP games. Woo! That's a flex. It's funny to me because I'll watch it. Well, you're watching, aren't you? That's like when Captain Jack Sparrow says, "But you have heard of me." You're watching, aren't you? You know what I mean? Who's watching you? I mean, listen. I've always found that to be remarkable. When I admit I'm bad at a game, and then I play poorly, and people are like, "Yeah, you suck, bro. Get good." And I'm like, are you not paying attention? It's like you're an NPC with only so many dialogue options, and you've exhausted all of them. You know? You're like, here's a guy who admits he's not very good at the game, and then he's not very good at the game. So I only have so many things I can say. I get good, bro. You suck. It's like, okay, cool, man. Like, whatever. Listen, if that makes your day better, watching a dude in his 40s not play PvP well after saying he won't play PvP well, okay? If that's what it takes to entertain you, I'm happy to be of service. Did you like Takezo and Yote? I liked the fight once I put on the gear that got rid of the cold damage. Right? You kind of gave Marathon a bad rep, though. Because you don't like FPS games. So I gave it a bad rep. Me. Really. I did a showcase of an alpha that was poorly received by the public. I walked out a beta that people barely played after a day. Did I delay Marathon? I didn't realize I had that kind of power. I didn't realize I had that kind of power. Also, I didn't realize I don't like FPS games. I've definitely fallen off with them. I definitely have fallen off with FPS games. I definitely have. That's fair. I don't think that's why I don't like Marathon. Right? In your last video? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was critical. Yep. Yes. I think it looks derivative. I think it looks like it's just borrowed a bunch of stuff from Destiny and Apex, and that many people will feel that derivative and familiarity nature, and they'll walk away very quickly. I don't think many people are going to be convinced to play or stay with the game long term. My main issue isn't qualitative judgment, it's re-engagement. Like, I don't see a lot of people coming back to the game over time. I don't. That has nothing to do with me kind of falling out of love with first-person shooters. I mean, when you've been playing first-person shooters since Wolfenstein 3D, which, you know, Youngblood, you probably weren't around back then, but when you've been playing first-person shooters since they were quite literally created, yeah, I could see getting a little tired of them. You know, Wolf 3D, Doom 1 and 2, Quake 2, Quake 3, Rocket Arena, Unreal Tournament, Call of Duty, and then Call of Duty. Like, I played Call of Duty for a very long time. Then I played Destiny for a very long time. Yeah, I mean, I got a little tired of FPS games. I don't think that's why I'm being critical of Marathon. If your intellectual ability limits you to, you watch my 20-minute breakdown of their latest video and you're like, you don't like it because you don't like FPS games. If that's your limited ability, I mean, maybe you need to get good. I would go listen to the video again. Because I say a whole lot more than, I don't like FPS games. Like, that's not the crux of my argument. The crux of my argument is, this is derivative. It feels a whole lot like a hero shooter. And I don't think games like this have good re-engagement long term. I think people walk away rather quickly. New Life is Strange game preview show is tomorrow. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I was around back then. FPS shooters are way different now. Listen, if you're my age, you got the you know, the posture and the mouth of a young blood that thinks he's hot because he's good at shooters, which, you know, I don't know a whole lot of guys my age that act that way. You know what I mean? You're acting like a young blood with a chip. My point is that I don't think I made any criticisms of Marathon that were, oh yeah, I don't really like FPS games. It's an FPS game. No, I'm talking about re-engagement. Homie, I've covered live service games for a decade. Like, you cover something for a decade, you start to get some instincts. Like, yeah, I said Concord wasn't going to do well. I said nobody would want fair games. The reception of both those games has been terrible. I'm 31, starting to get worse. So, right? Wait till you're my age, brother. Everything slows down, dude. Everything slows down. I got 13 years on you. Wait till you get here. Uh-huh. You'll be wearing slippers and cozy hoodies, and you'll be like, yeah, maybe I don't like PvP all that much anymore. I'm too slow. I just want to see it. I'm not fully hating on you because you're going to be bad. I mean, I'm giving back as much as you're giving to me. Like, come on, dude. You come in and run your mouth. Yeah, I'm going to push back a little bit. Listen, I think it's not about, it's never to me with Marathon. It's never been about my bias against Bungie, because like I've had people get really upset when I defend Bungie. I feel like I have been able to remove a lot of my bias from the discussion as best as possible. Right? I have an anarchist joker side of me that would love to see the company burn to the ground. I don't let that come into the coverage. I'm like, man, I don't see this, bros. I don't see this. I don't see this as lasting. If they prove me wrong, I'll be shocked. And listen, everything I said about arcraiders before it came out, they've consistently proven me right. They've proven me right at every turn. I was like, they should really lean into the PvE. Most people are playing the game like it's a PvE. After 1 week, I said, I think they have some kind of an aggression-based matchmaking system in here. I don't think I said aggression-based. I think I said, PvP sort of, what did we say? Behavioral. That's what we called it. We called it behavioral matchmaking. I said, I think they got something in here. And I think the reason it's in here is they have a vested interest in keeping people like me in the game and not getting dumped on by people who just want to PvP and rat and steal. And guess what? Everything I said, they clearly knew that if they walked out with an extraction shooter where you spend 6 games in a row getting dunked on and losing your loot, that people wouldn't stick around, and they put systems in to protect it. Everything I said was proven right. Unwound Automaton says, at your age, you're lucky if you get out of bed in the morning and things don't hurt. Man, shut the frick up. Why are you going to be blowing up my spot like that, dude? I'm riding the bike every morning. I'm feeling better. Gaming also changed in 20 years, says Wheezy. Re-engagement metrics aren't just metrics. They're literally proven to be the most important games as a service devs, because people will leave because entertainment has evolved enough such that engaging with one product forever is no longer feasible. Marathon does have a good single-player, low PvP component with the Rook shell in my 30s, and I love the gameplay loop with the Rook. More power to you, man. Bungie should not be defended either. Arcraiders will definitely give the game a big bump, though. I consistently think that that's a double-edged blade. Yes. A bunch of people are like, hey, man, Arcraiders was a lot more fun than I expected. These extraction shooter games might not be that bad. Let me go check out Marathon. Ooh, that's dangerous. Oh, that's dangerous. That's like when the Division 1 marketed itself as, remember when they had like the headline that like Division 1's beta blew Destiny 1's beta out of the water or something like that, and the headline was blows Destiny out of the water. That was one of the worst mistakes they ever made. They started, you want Destiny players to come and play your looter shooter? Oh, you better buckle the frick up, because these people are crazy. They're going to comb over your game so dadgum fast. They're going to squeeze your game out like a rag, and they're going to throw it away. And boy, did they do that. Like, appealing to the Destiny audience was dangerous. And I'm here to tell you, if a bunch of arcraiders peeps come into this game, that is dangerous, because it is not going to give them what they've been getting in arcraiders. Not at all. The best thing that could happen to this player base in Marathon is that the people that want PvP in arcraiders, they flock to Marathon, and it scratches the itch, and they become the core audience. And then that's where the bulk of their ongoing support comes from. And I got a tip from, I think, Perfect Image. Thank you for the $4 tip. These games that people get tired of, thank God I didn't play them, staying on GTA, Little COD Battlefield, these other live service games weren't for me. I was playing more story games. By the way, I wish the best for the users who play them. That's the other thing I think that people don't realize is, like, listen, I'm not telling you that, like, I hope the game flops and is terrible. I'm telling you, I don't see staying power. I don't. I think it might be harder than arcraiders. Oh, it will be. It's going to be more hardcore than arcraiders. Listen. From the very beginning, when I looked at arcraiders, I said, man, they've got PvE potential. They've got these big, huge bosses that they built. They've got this game that looks really cool. We started hearing about how they train the bots and the AI and stuff, and I was like, man, there's a lot of PvE potential. Game comes out, and I said, listen, they've got something in their corner that Helldivers had. You can just keep making content. You can just keep adding arcs, maps, new weapons. Like the PvE element of Arc Raiders gives them so much elasticity. Man, what are you going to add to Marathon long term? We talked about this earlier. If you're familiar with Bungie and their PvP over the years, one of the worst things about them, they have no idea what to do with metagaming. They don't know what to do with it. They'll throw something like stasis in their game or some busted exotic, and all of a sudden, PvP's overrun with metagaming, and they're like, derp, best we better disable that ability. Guess we better disable that exotic. It's breaking PvP. That's the company that's making Marathon. A company that's giving you wall hacks and little robots that are going to make you drop your loot or freeze you in place. Homie, these guys' track record in this environment is freaking terrible. Marathon does not have like a Path of Exile ARPG style armor upgrade loot system that makes you jump faster, stuff like that. Oh, it does have that. Yep. You know what? You want to know what I saw? I saw a podcast and I saw videos from guys that are big time Destiny guys. And you know what they're talking about? They can't wait to make guide videos. They can't wait to give you build videos. If there's one thing you can count on from YouTubers, buddy, they will pour gas on the metagaming fire. They will. Like, this is a broken build. And then you'll run into 3 teams running that broken build. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Metagaming is going to descend on Marathon faster than a fly on crap. Like, it's going to be so fast. You're going to blink and you're like, oh my gosh, these are some busted builds. And you're hoping that Bungie can figure out how to untangle all of it. I watched them bumble and fumble around with this for the last 10 years. I don't know if they're going to be able to figure it out this time around. Sure don't. You're going to be one of them? How's it different than any other game, though? What do you mean? What do you mean, how is it different than any other game? Is that your defense of it? Like metagaming in like a Fortnite or an Apex, right? Or a Warzone? That's a common theme, right? All of a sudden there's a new item, there's a new gun, there's a new thing that becomes the meta and everybody uses it. Fortnite's antidote for this was they just constantly disrupt the meta. It's never, ever, ever staying the same. It's constantly changing. It's constantly changing. I don't follow Apex. I can't comment there. I can't comment on Warzone, but I know for a fact that's how Fortnite does it. They're literally just like shaboom, and they just detonate the meta every like 60 days or something. YouTubers create content to find the meta for any game. Yes, they do. Yeah. No, you're right. And in a game like this, where you're coming in, you're building a runner, you're taking the one guy literally said, this really blew my mind. He told him that one of the people he spoke to at Bungie said, think of the game like a rogue. You know, you get a build, you really start building into it and really start getting different things for it, you know. And I'm like, if that's their view of this, they're already kind of setting you up to constantly need to adapt and switch things up, because they're going to nerf the meta builds almost immediately. Like, I don't think they're going to take the mentality they're taking with Destiny right now, where they're okay with the chaos, or they'll just buff things up so that everything's kind of on equal footing. I don't think that's how it's going to go. I don't think it's how it's going to go. I think they're going to be more prone to nerfing something if they feel like it's running amok in the game, like a meta build or a character or whatever. In a hero shooter, that's also an extraction shooter that looks very cool and immersive. So it's your opinion that it's a hero shooter? Or are you referring to it as a hero shooter? I had a lot of people disagree with me on that. They said, that's not a hero shooter. Whack-a-mole nerfs, for sure. For sure. It's not their first rodeo with playing whack-a-mole with nerfs. It isn't. Yes, we have shells. Okay. Technically, it's a hero shooter. Mm-hmm. The cool thing is the passive items change. You can do like it's Diablo or something. Yeah, you're gonna be able to customize and craft your own build. That's why people were telling me it's not a hero shooter, because of that element. They were saying it wasn't because of that. It's a hero-based extraction shooter. I think the continued insistence that it is not a hero shooter, I think that's actually going to end up hurting it, because I think you're going to convince a bunch of people to go in that are like, well, yeah, everybody said it wasn't a hero shooter. And then they're going to play it. And they're going to be like, wait a minute. The heck is all of this? To people following GTA 6 Countdown, please don't rely on delay rumors from them. They often exaggerate headlines for engagement. The Rockstar North boiler explosion situation had many panicked fans over a nonsensical tweet on a delay, then caused others suspect clickbait pages to follow. Even if the studio had to close for a few days, there are 9 other studios working on the game. If they don't have character names, it's not a hero-based game. Like, it's a fine line, but it's 99% the same foundation. Also, they only changed this so it was a hero shooter a few weeks ago. Marathon reveals how each class they were previously named characters play. I'm telling you, it's the biggest self-report. It's a self-report, y'all. They literally were referring to them as characters. It got leaked that they leaned into it being more of a cast of heroes. And then the hero shooter becomes stigmatized. And because it becomes stigmatized, now we're going to shift around phraseology and verbiage. And it's like, you guys are in trouble. You are well aware of what the public thinks of these types of games. And you're trying to play some kind of a phraseology game, like some kind of a sleight of hand where you're like, nah, it's not a hero shooter. Nah, they're not characters anymore. We're calling them shells. We're calling them classes. You call them whatever the frick you want. You call them whatever you want. The community that plays it, the people that buy it, the people that take it for a spin, I'm here to tell you, I think they're going to come to the same conclusion that a lot of us came to. This looks awful, plays an awful lot like a hero shooter. This feels an awful lot like a hero shooter, man. Stop listening to what they say and see with your eyes. Shared world shooter. Bro, it's an MMO. While this is going on, sources tell IGN that Bungie is pouring resources into getting Marathon out the door. The game's direction shifted under Ziegler's new leadership, one source said, including moving away from custom playable characters in favor of selectable cast of heroes. Paul, you're not putting anything new in front of me, my friend. I remember those debates. We read that, and I was like, that's a concern. I don't know. That's a concern, man. And people are like, it's not a hero shooter. It sounds like classes to me. I'm like, what difference does it make? If in execution they're doing the same thing. You got abilities, you got passives. The one podcast referred to the one girl's ability as an ultimate. I was like, listen, man. If the verbiage around this game heads in this direction, you better watch the frick out, because this is exactly the kind of stuff that people are sick of. This is all of the things that people are frickin' tired of. They're sick of it. You get hacked through a wall, seen through a wall, droned through a wall, some crazy ability, some this, some that, blah, blah, blah. People are so tired of that. I'd rather they had names. Like, here's what's funny to me is, you're not picking a hero. You, the character, are going into a shell that is a recon shell. Okay. Let me ask you something. When you played Anthem, did it really matter that you weren't the mech? You climbed into the mech suit? Did that really matter? Did that distinction make a big difference? Were you like, no. That's not me. I'm this character that walks around the town, and then I go and climb in the mech. Did anybody say that, Anthem wasn't like a mech-based game because you climbed into the mech? No. I'm the character. I'm not that. I'm not the Storm or the Ranger or the Colossus. I'm climbing into it. What difference does it make? It's like, does it make a difference? Yeah, we're not heroes. We're climbing into the shells of named characters. They're now classes. We climb into this shell. It's a class, and it's got abilities, it's got passives, and it's got an ultimate. But it's not a hero shooter. Okay. All right. Whatever you say, man. You call it whatever you want. You call it a class-based extraction shooter with shells or whatever the heck. That's fine. Ball Pit's getting an update on the 26th. Ball Pit gets even more ballier with the Regal update on January the 26th. 2 new characters, 8 new balls, new passives, new secrets. There you go. All you Ball Pit fans out there. That's it. One of my kids is being a goof, like yelling or something. My son's like singing or something. I do have some other stories. But I need a quick break. Quick break, all right? So give me a second. I'll be back. There's a ton of hype online. The pre-orders dropping. I tell you what, you go right ahead and think that's what it is. I always find it funny that I make it about the game and you make it about me. I think that's a pretty strong self-report. You're trying to make it personal. I think that says a lot about you. I also think it says a lot about how secure and strong you are in your position. It just smacks of insecurity. It's climbing up the Steam bestsellers list right now. Yeah. And I want you to tell me what my position is, because I can clearly see you don't understand it. You think that that's some kind of a refutation of my position. It's going to sell well. A lot of people are going to play day one. Okay. Have I once said that wouldn't happen? What's my position been? Has my position been that it looks bad? No. Has my position been that it doesn't look any better? No. Have my position been that, it's not fun, no one's going to like it? No. I've said I don't see something with staying power. I think re-engagement's going to struggle. I think it's going to turn into metagaming. It's going to get hardcore. It's going to be very PvP focused. So hype, excitement, and pre-orders don't mean anything with regard to my position. It has nothing to do with my position. I've also maintained that interest has dropped off. Interest has dropped off. How did their video do over the weekend? How did it do over the weekend? The one that we looked at. The shells. It's been up for 4 days, homie. It has 153,000 views. Their one video that we looked at the other day, it still hasn't cleared 500,000 views. Their vid doc that everybody said looks so much better. Homie, they went from getting millions of views on their cinematic, millions of views on their gameplay reveal, millions of views on their announcement trailer, to the vid doc that apparently is changing everybody's minds, can't even crack 500,000 views. 4 days of their runner video doesn't even have 250,000 views. And you're telling me, it's popping off, man. Interest is high. It's getting a ton of pre-orders. People are hyped. Homie, the people that were interested and excited or paying attention are, yes, they're still paying attention. If you want to change the public's mind, I don't see evidence of that. I don't see evidence. I see diminished interest. I see less people interested than were before. What's the like to dislike ratio? Again, like to dislike ratio is not going to look bad anymore because the people that don't care have moved on. They're not even watching the videos. We did this the other day too. Go to arcraiders. It's the opposite. Arcraiders videos went up in interest, not down. I don't know what to tell you. The public is really, really hard to, it's like water. It's like a current. It's really hard to get that current to change. Once people decided that they weren't interested or thought it looked bad, that's kind of the end of it for so many people. They're not going to give you a second glance. A lot of Destiny players will pre-order to get the Destiny bonuses and then cancel the pre-order. They always do this. Yeah, if you're giving people Destiny pre-order bonuses, I mean, come on. Your pre-orders don't compel me to think any differently than I've thought. They don't compel me at all. Like, if you're giving Destiny players pre-order bonuses. Come on. That would be like giving people, benefits in Warzone if they pre-order a Call of Duty and you start saying, yeah, COD's back, Call of Duty's back, look at the pre-order numbers. And here's what's going to happen. If the game doesn't do well, people are going to be so sour. They're going to be like, yeah, well, people like you wrote it off before it even had a chance. That's why it failed and flopped. That's not, no. If this game fails and flops, it ain't going to have a lick to do with me. Look at the track of Concord videos on the PlayStation channel. Did the same thing happen with those, the Concord videos? Did they just diminish in interest? Because that's what I always felt like. It just felt like as soon as they showed gameplay, people were like, what the frick is this? It was like, We had no idea what Concord was going to be, and then we saw it. A lot of Destiny players, D2 numbers are trash. Yeah, but there's still a lot of people playing Destiny. There's a lot of people who pay attention to Destiny. There's a lot of people who pay attention to Bungie. You know? Microphone says it might be a slow grower, but not that bad. I think that's just almost impossible. I think it's almost impossible that if you have a bad start with a live service game to turn things around. It's incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. A lot of people are going to get their fill of the game in the open beta, and that'll be their only engagement with Marathon. Yeah, I think the open beta is a huge risk. The open beta is a huge risk. Okay. That happened with Concord, right? You let a bunch of people play it. I remember I played it with my nephews. I was like, this is not going, this is dead. This is DOA. I don't think it'll crash and burn like Concord, but I don't think it'll ever skyrocket and have a long life. I think the beta is a double-edged sword. I think you're going to let people see behind the curtain, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, this is what I thought it was. I'm good. Did you see this? Oh, is that what they're doing to celebrate Ocarina of Time? Ocarina of Time, the Final Battle Lego set. You can pre-order it. It's $130. Yeah, that's hot, y'all. Yeah. It's good stuff there. I'm kind of over the Lego thing, man. I don't have any space for them. I don't have any space for them anymore. How could you not see that link? You get a storage unit for more Lego. If you're interested in or excited about Marathon, says Unwound, yes, you see hype. That's called confirmation bias, because as someone who has no interest, there's not enough hype to pull me in. Yeah, what all did we have that we were supposed to be covering today? I forget. Apex, Jedi 3. Yeah, let me quickly make sure we have these here for timestamps, because I know there's people that come behind and they're gonna look for this. They're gonna look for the timestamps, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, what happened with that? I want to see what happened with that." So really quickly. Star Wars Jedi 3 is being revealed and released this year, according to insider Tim Geddes. Tim Geddes says, I didn't say that, as anyone should know about my hype. I don't know anything, okay? So I'm assuming he was speculating or something. Here's the thing. I crunched the numbers, okay? Jedi Fallen Order came out in November of 2019. Jedi Survivor came out in April of 2023. That was 41 months between the first and the second game. If Jedi 3 is slated to release this year, let's say it comes out in December, they're going to shoot for a holiday release or something. Ignore GTA 6 just for a second and hear me out. If they shoot for December, that's 44 months since the last game. So that's a similar time frame. That's a similar window of time that Jedi 3 could be potentially coming this year. So I don't know how this started. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why people were saying that he said it. I have no idea. But Star Wars Jedi 3 was officially confirmed by EA in September of 2024. The game targeting a 2026 release window. Yeah. My hope is that it's not true because Survivor wasn't ready. And I really, really hope they don't make the same mistake again. Because Jedi Survivor was a great game that came out about a year too early. And it's still in terrible shape on PC. And yeah, it's the whole thing is frustrating. And I really hope they don't do the same thing with Jedi 3. So that was that. Hang on a second. The other thing that happened was, and just very quickly, we don't need to rebake this cake. Arcraiders started permanently banning cheaters after community backlash. Okay? This was interesting because they were handing out temporary bans. All right? And people were not happy. They're like, temporary bans. So the Burnt Peanut, he calls out Embark because he keeps running into the same cheaters. Ninja spoke about this as well. They kept running into the same cheaters. Okay, he says, fix this or I'm out of here. Okay? So all of a sudden, permanent bans start going out. Burnt Peanut ends up apologizing. He says, listen, I love the game. I want them to do well. He's very passionate. He got passionate. He got frustrated. Now, Thump weighs in and says, I just want to let you know that they just banned one of them permanently 30 minutes ago. After a month long of them doing nothing, your rant made the difference in them finally taking action. Use your voice more. So Thump seemed to think that one of the guys that just kept doing it and wasn't getting banned got banned because Peanut went on a rant. I certainly think there's some merit to the idea that, like, if you've got streamers calling you out and saying, look, man, these people are cheating and you're not doing anything about it. I keep facing the same person over and over and over again doing it. I think that's fair. Ninja has an interesting take here, though. He says 99% of the people are not coming close to a fraction of the amount of cheaters that we're seeing, so it's falling on deaf ears. There's a lot of the community that just think that we're complaining. Okay? Now, I think if you combine Ninja's theory with my theory, he feels like they're seeing a disproportionate amount of cheaters because they're targeted by them. Like the cheaters try to get in their lobbies to try to mess with them. So streamers seemingly see a ton of them. There was a montage of Tim the Tapman being killed by cheaters in arcraiders over and over and over again. He was like losing his mind, right? Well, I think if you combine that with my theory, it would make sense why they are feeling a disproportionate amount of exposure to cheaters. I think cheaters are going to land in PvP heavy lobbies because cheaters are going to PvP way more. So they're not going to land in the peaceful lobbies. I think a lot of the people are playing peaceful and are like, what are you talking about? I'm not seeing any cheaters at all. Well, a cheater's not going to land in a peaceful lobby because they're not playing peaceful. I also think even if you're playing PvP focused, you're not going to see them as often as cheaters because as streamers, because the streamers are being targeted. So I think Ninja's theory with my own theory kind of makes sense as to why a lot of people are like, brother, I have no idea why these guys feel like there's so much cheating in the game. I barely ever see it. So that's pretty much what happened. That's my theory. That's what's going on with the cheating. That's what's going on with the bans. I wanted to make sure we covered that and had a timestamp for the people who might be watching this later and are looking for that story. So we covered, Highguard. We kind of debated Marathon again. Jedi 3 rumor, arcraider bans. There's not much else going on. I didn't really prepare anything else. I don't have any reactions or anything for you guys today. I didn't see much in the way of that. So we should probably go to Green Room shortly. If you guys want to keep us on pace for the week, you've got some time to do that as well. Currently sitting at 25. I've gifted one already to YouTube, so thank you for that. Make sure you guys celebrate your renewals and your primes. As much as I love Star Wars and Star Wars games, I'd prefer it to be more complete versus what we got in Survivor. I 100% agree with you. Like, I would never want there to be a pattern of, you know, of game releases where you're literally just letting games come out and it's like, well, we're just trying to get the game out on time. Okay, well, you can take a really, really great game and basically ruin it when you do that. And Jedi Survivor is a perfect example of that. Rissik's going to poke the line with one. Thank you so much, Risik, the man himself. This guy single-handedly secured the Saturday stream. For the time being, when you guys hit the goal, we are going to do streams on Saturday. It seemed like more people could come anyway to the stream on Saturday. So we greatly appreciate that. And when you guys hit that goal, Saturday we'll do gaming news tonight where Madam reacts to this week's gaming news. We had a lot of fun with you guys on Saturday. It's a shorter stream and it's more kind of to the point, but it's time stamped and it seemed like a lot of you guys enjoyed it and more people were able to attend. So thank you for that, everybody that was there. If you missed the past broadcast, check it out. You guys can always go back and watch that later. A blend between some of the dynamics from Survivor and the strange Ubisoft open world Star Wars game would be amazing. The Last Jedi going around traveling space, less stealth, more mature action. I would love for them to, man, the guys that made Control, Remedy, they would make a killer Star Wars game. They're so good at the telekinetic powers. They're pushing the hype. Hang on, check the Discord. Hang on, I was in the wrong chat room. Limited edition Marathon DualSense controller and headset coming. Yeah. I'll tell you something. For whatever reason, PlayStation's all in. I find that to be pretty shocking, but I don't know. If they feel like learning another hard lesson, that's they're more than welcome to. I'm here to tell you, I don't. It ain't going to be Concord levels, but I feel like they're about to learn another hard lesson. I feel like they're backing a losing horse, and they're flexing the marketing spend. It's already top 10 most sold on Steam. Plenty are pre-ordering. Yeah. It's a Bungie title. Bungie titles aren't going to struggle in the realm of like, and maybe that's PlayStation's mindset is we'll get enough money to cover costs. Like, we're, you know, Bungie's got pull. There's market demand. They'll sell, but I don't know. Top 10 pre-orders on a Monday. We'll see. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? That's right. That is right. We'll see. If anything, I don't think I doubt Bungie's ability to market something and to get people excited and to get people pre-ordering. I don't think I've ever doubted that. That's why the other day I kept saying it over and over again so nobody could misunderstand. I've been talking about re-engagement. So, and maybe at some level that's not as big of a concern, right? Maybe that's not as big of a concern. Like, maybe the concern is not re-engagement. Maybe the concern is procuring enough sales to, you know, to not have it be, you know, a Concord situation. Nobody does hype better than Bungie. Yeah. PlayStation's looking to make money on this game. Good luck to them. Good luck to them. Yeah. We'll see. If they end up with a hardcore base that keeps playing and just PvPs their hearts off and does all the things, maybe they'll count that as a win. Maybe they'll get some like core hardcore group. I feel like so many of the rest of us, more mid lanes, more casuals, like the broader audience is just not going to vibe. I just don't feel like you're going to capture a broad audience. Maybe they don't care about that. I don't know. I remember when we would have these discussions, people would point to games like smaller games, and they're like, well, all these games have this many players and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, that game wasn't made by Bungie and financed by PlayStation, marketed by PlayStation. Like, that's, got to consider that. Isn't Marathon Pro enhanced? Marathon PlayStation Store. I don't see why they would. It's not the kind of game that really needs that. No, it's not listed as PS5 Pro enhanced. We don't know the budget for Marathon, to be fair. For sure, we don't know the budget, but the size and the operational costs of Bungie, if you've got people sliced off to do this, we know what happened when they spun off all these incubation projects, what it did to Destiny, which is their cash cow. You know. All right, y'all. It's 12:30, and we're kind of landing the plane a little early today, and that's okay. It's a Monday. It was also a holiday, so it was going to be probably a slow news day. We'll see what we can't scrounge up for tomorrow. Great show today. Good back and forth. Big turnout. Thanks for all the likes. If you haven't hit like yet, try to get us to close to 300 likes. If you're not in the Discord, you can't come to Green Room. You don't get to be part of this. This is something that we reserve for members only. It's a way to end the day. We will not be doing members only content on YouTube until they fix it. So that was a decision we had to make kind of going into the new year. So for now, the content like Green Room lands in the Discord. Now, on Saturday, if you guys unlock the thing with Madam, the chat is members only. The chat is members only on Saturday. We do that. So if you do show up and want to engage with Madam and I about the week's gaming news, we're going to try running that on Saturday for the time being instead of running it on Friday. So it seemed like more people were able to participate. So thanks so much, guys, for a great day. Thanks for all the conversation, all the back and forth, all of the tips and the members. And we'll see you guys in the Green Room. All right? Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.